Hello, and welcome to TSTV, a show in which I, Sadie, guide my friend Lily through the wild world of Twin Peaks. Today we're talking about Twin Peaks Episode 5, Cooper's Dreams. Lily, how's it going?
Sadie, it's good, but I gotta tell you, it's like there's some giant animal in my house. That's like not bothering me, but it's just leaving hair everywhere. And so I want to apologize in advance if the sounds on my end this morning are just absolutely vile. Because I'm experiencing allergies, but otherwise I'm perfectly nice. Otherwise I'm good. This morning I had toast with Vegemite, which I've been craving for literally years of my life. And I tracked it down. Well, my mom bought me some.
Is that the crazy Australian one, or is that Marmite?
That's the crazy Australian one, yeah.
Huh. I've never had it. I just know that it's Australian and infamous.
Yeah, for a reason. It's pretty much straight gluten, so I wouldn't advise it.
Sure. For the listeners, I am deeply gluten insensitive.
Insensitive?
Yeah, I'm bigoted.
How are you? And what did you have for breakfast, more importantly?
I had some rice and lentils. I was so mad. This was yesterday, well, technically the day before, but I made like a nice little like tofu rice peanut butter sauce veggie situation. It wasn't like anything crazy, but it was delicious, and then I fucking left it out overnight. I was so mad.
Oh, that's the worst.
I'm having some quickly made rice and lentils of shame. But listen, what's been up with you? I want to hear you tell me more about Disco Elysium.
Oh, hell yes. Absolutely.
And, I'll leave a timestamp, listeners, if you want to hear about what we've been doing and don't want Disco Elysium spoilers. But I want Lily to tell me this shit, because I've been trying to get her to play that game for forever.
Yeah. Okay. Disco Elysium, reminder, it's like a role-playing game where you play as a cop who can't remember anything about his life, and he's investigating a murder, and he's a total train wreck.
Importantly, a cop, and also in a setting that like had a like successful communist revolution that was then overthrown by like fictional world UN invasion.
Yeah.
And so it's a cop that's kind of a remnant of this like communist like people's militia, but it's kind of been subsumed into this like neoliberal. It's really cool. But anyway, sorry, please go.
It's actually interesting to hear you. You know what? This is not relevant to my experience. Anyway.
No. I want to hear.
It's interesting to hear you describe them as like a remnant of the communists, because I thought they were just like straight moralists. I thought they were sort of against that whole thing, but I also don't know that much about like the lore.
I think there's like some dialogue somewhere where they talk about is it the RCM?
Yeah, Revachol Citizens Militia.
Well, yeah, I think that's the thing. I think it was that like the idea was that this was like during the like communist revolution, or the communards as they're called. What's the not Karl Marx name in this setting?
Mazov.
Yes, Kraz Mazov. So I think the idea was that there was like this militia that is like serving a like, I don't know. Effectively cops, whatever. There's many discourses to be had about this as an idea, but the idea being that like this is more of a like the people doing this having like capacity to protect themselves, especially against like bosses or whatever. But that like this was, I think like this is like mentioned offhand at some point, but I think by the time that like Harry Dubois is going around and doing things in this game, they have been completely absorbed. I think it was very like the moralists here are kind of like the ultra liberals, like the UN taking over.
No, those guys are different.
They are. It's true. Yeah. Okay. Well, the Moralist International, is that the name of the like quasi UN thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That they like reabsorbed the RCM and are like, you are just a normal police force again. So there was like an attempt to kind of institute something different than like a police force that is still like engaging in this kind, like, I don't know, it's funny. This is very Twin Peaks relevant in some ways. I think like that there was an idea here of a like citizens militia that is doing closer to what like propaganda says that cops do, but that they were then reabsorbed and like still I don't, but I think there is a sense of a kind of like some degree of like a struggle going on there in this. But anyway, tell me about your adventures.
Sure. So yeah, heavy spoilers here. I am towards the end of day 4 at this point, and I've recently gotten a game over underneath the Feld building by just walking and then being like killed by radio waves, and the whole like screen goes nuts, the colors go all psychedelic, and you just get fucking zapped.
Do you know that I played that whole game with a single hit point?
What?
Because okay, you know, there's like the thing where like you assign. So there's like a million stats. I think we talked about it a bit last time. There's like stats for every possible kind of like personality type, basically.
Yeah.
But they are split into 4 categories, being like body stuff, strong guy. But that one also has some like really fun like narrative stats, like dexterity type quick stuff, purple, which is like intuition and emotion, and blue, which is like, you know, quote unquote intelligence. And I was like, I think it would be really funny if my guy just has the minimum possible in body strong guy stats. But also how the system works is like you can't upgrade a stat. Like each of these categories has like a bunch of stats within them. So like the red like body strong guy category has like shivers is a really cool one. That's like a very narrative one. That's like being in touch with the city and like the people of this, like on the streets and whatever. And like, I remember that one, it does a really cool thing where like when you're going through the game and you're in a conversation, if you pass a stat check, then that stat will like insert something into just like the kind of narration. And I remember there being a lot of shivers checks that are like, the higher your shivers stat, the more likely you are to pass this check. And all that it does is like narrate what a lady walking her groceries home, like outside the building that you're in, is thinking. So, however, one of the red body stats is also the stat that gives you more hit points. But you can't upgrade any stat higher than what your like allocation in that category is, which you decide when you create your character. So because I like created my character with an only 1 in red body strong guy category, I could never have more than 1 hit point because I could not upgrade that stat any further.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so good.
It's very like I this is how I found out that the game does have a bit of a like mercy mechanic where if you hit 0 hit points as your screen is fading out, if you heal, you don't die. But that was my only, like, effectively the number of healing things that I had was my hit points, because as soon as I took any damage, I would just die instantly. It's very, very funny. I would get to checks of like, will you try to open this door that's hard to open, and fail to open the door and die.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Like the first thing I did is try to get my like tie off the ceiling fan and just had a heart attack and didn't have any healing things and had to start the game again from like 30 seconds in.
Oh fuck, dude, that's hilarious.
But so yeah, you got hit by radio waves. It gotcha.
Yeah, I'm feeling very close to solving the murder. Although I hear that there's a whole other section and like a tribunal and stuff after. I've gotten slightly spoiled because this is a game that I've been thinking about constantly. So I've, of course, like gone on to the Reddit and all that.
Oh no, danger. Yeah.
I've been careful-ish, but it's really been delightful that 5 years out, this game has an incredibly active community.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
This is something that bums me out about many of my favorite games is I have no one to talk to them about, or like there's no like there's no like ongoing culture around the games to enjoy. Of course not everything needs that, but like I seem to play a lot of games that either their time is come and past, or they just are not large enough to like have memes made about them. You know? So this has been a fun experience for me.
What other like standout moments have you had that you're like, whoa, that was fucking sick?
Ooh, let me think about that. Okay, well, I had to tell a woman that her husband died, and I
Oh,
did
that one's rough.
it's like you have to pass an empathy check where you have to roll an incredibly high score, and I just didn't. And so I still had to do it, but I had to do a bad job at it.
God.
I just,
Did you get the thing where you talked to that woman like earlier in the game when she's like around the bookstore?
Not successfully.
I know. I just remember talking to her then, and like, are you doing Inland Empire as your stat? I forget.
No, mine is encyclopedia. I'm so annoying.
Yeah. So I don't know if this was something that you saw or if this was like more because I had a really strong Inland Empire, but
Right.
I just like the first time I went up to talk to her, like my Inland Empire was to say like, no, you don't have a husband. And she's like, what are you talking about? I do. And I'm like, no. No. Oh, hello, Cricket. No, you don't have a husband. And at the time, it was like, this is so silly, Harry Dubois. But then it got really sad because it's like, oh no, she doesn't have a husband.
Because he died. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Holy
I know.
shit.
Yeah, I know.
And this is before
right?
you can actually learn that that's true.
Yes, no, very much. And that's why I'm like, playing that game with that Inland Empire stat is a lot like being Dale Cooper, of just like having these crazy intuitions that somehow pay off.
Just being able to divine things. Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? Speaking of, I wanted to tell you about this movie that I saw last week that I think you might enjoy. It's called La Chimera. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, a friend was telling me about this recently.
It's very cool. So it stars Josh O'Connor of, for me, Challengers fame. That's all I had seen him in. As this English
Wait, which Challengers boy is he?
The black-haired one.
Okay.
And he plays this English archaeologist in Italy who, man, I'm glad that I went in blind because this is kind of a reveal. But the premise is basically that he's a grave robber. That he robs.
This is one of the few things I was told about it.
Okay, gotcha. So he uses his like traditional like divining powers, you know, like with he like holds up a twig and he like it like leads him. And he robs ancient graves and he sells them to basically like a high-end antiques dealer. And it is like a very religious movie. I've been thinking about it alongside some of my favorites, like Synecdoche, New York, as like movies that definitely believe in God, even if they're not like explicitly Christian. Dude is decked out in like an all-white suit for the entire movie, and his personal like background is very hazy, and he has all these like sort of very meaningful dreams, and it's closer to like a folktale or a myth than like an Indiana Jones kind of thing, you know? And it's fucking awesome.
It's very intriguing. Hey, do you think Twin Peaks believes in God?
No, I think it's a lot more. It's not religious, but it's spiritual, you know, in the bullshit way that everyone was in the 90s, I guess.
And I think also in the way that David Lynch just is, I think, you know?
Totally. I say it's bullshit to be not religious but spiritual. That very much describes me. But it's like that kind of slightly wooey thing is fun in art, but then I encounter it in real life and I'm like, what are you saying right now, dude? Like,
it's so funny.
Like if someone sees a flock of crows and goes like, that's an omen according to my superstitions. I have a lot of people like this in my family. I tend to be like, no, nah, dude, that's birds. They're just doing bird stuff. Anyway, but people like that are capable of making incredible art.
I feel like I myself do not generally feel the calling of like, I see birds and I'm like, oh my God, that's an omen. But I feel like whenever someone is like that, I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of like, I don't go here, but hey, you're the boss. You know about omens. I'll take your word on it, you know?
Totally. That's funny. I would love to hear a little bit about what you've been up to.
I've been pretty chilling. I forget if I said this last time, but I've been rewatching Mad Men. And I also started watching Berserk, 1997 anime.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. One of the anime podcasts that I like keep an eye on, Ghost Divers, started doing it. And honestly, I think it had been on my radar as either to like watch the anime or read the manga ever since like our real life eclipse. When was that? Was that in like March? Or it was like April?
April, yeah.
Yeah. We were in, I had like gone with a couple of friends and we'd like drove like an hour south of Montreal. So we got like 3 minutes of totality and it was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm like, how much should I care about saying Berserk spoilers? But also I feel like the thing that's a spoiler about it is like, the thing is like very, like the thing about it that everyone knows. But like famously, I knew that in Berserk, there is an eclipse.
Oh,
and this one guy is having a really bad day, and the power of both him having a really bad day and also an eclipse happening summons a bunch of demons, and they're like, hey, do you want to sacrifice all your friends and get the power of a dark demon god? And he's like, yeah, you know what? I've had such a bad day, I will. And yeah. And I was like being in an IRL eclipse, I was like, you know, I get it. Like, I wouldn't sacrifice all my friends to the demons, but I do think if I was having a bad enough day and this happened, it would bring demons here, you know?
Oh, totally.
It was just such a fucking crazy experience. So anyway, I started watching Berserk.
Yeah. Did you also feel like I had a wonderful eclipse experience, but I did feel like the color was draining out of the world?
Yes. And it's funny, when that happened, someone I was with was like, wow, it feels very like Twin Peaks. It kind of like entered like this kind of like desaturated like television.
Yeah.
Like
what Vic said was zone of interest color grading. And I think that's very accurate.
God. Oh, wow. Vic watched Zone of Interest with you?
No.
Huh.
But they were so right. I don't know.
Interesting.
I guess they've seen trailers.
I need to watch that one. I still haven't.
It's very good. Very good. Very fucked up.
Anywho, shall we get into Twin Peaks?
Let's get peeking.
Okay. So shall we begin with the Log Lady intro?
Yeah, let's.
Okay, I have it screen sharing here. And
Great.
She tells us, I play my part.
I play my part on life's stage. I tell what I can to form the perfect answer. But that answer cannot come before all are ready to hear. So I tell what I can to form the perfect answer. Sometimes my anger at the fire is evident. Sometimes it is not anger, really. It may appear as such, but could it be a clue? The fire I speak of is not a kind fire.
This lady hates fire.
Yeah, for real. By the way, also before we talk more about this, I just want to shout out the YouTube channel that has put all these up is Phantom Cooper. And this YouTube channel is great. It's seems to just be a YouTube channel that is about Dark Souls and Twin Peaks. I hadn't really noticed this until just now, like this morning when I was getting this. I went to their channel and clicked on playlists. They have 2 playlists. One is Log Lady Intros HD, and the other is Dark Souls 2 Unusual Build. They also have like a guy in Dark Souls armor as in like the red room as their like YouTube profile picture, and their cover photo for their channel is just the red room with Dale giving a thumbs up in red, and it just says Dark Spirit Phantom Cooper has invaded. So whoever this guy is, or lady, or other, they're after my own heart. So thank you, Phantom Cooper, for your help.
See, I love this person, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's just you.
Fuck, you got me. Shit.
It was a phantom all along.
But yeah, thoughts on this intro?
Well, she says that she okay, let me just reread it. She talks about telling what she can to form the perfect answer. But like in the scene that we see her in, she claims to be channeling the log and speaking for it. So it's interesting to consider her interests as maybe not entirely overlapping with the logs. Like maybe she is also playing some sort of game here. I like the idea that she is consciously giving the audience clues with her anger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this could be about, but I will tell you that I'm thrilled that we get to properly meet her in this episode at last. And again, I guess if you're a log lover, you're not big into fire.
That's so
Who'd have
true.
thought?
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at this. Well, one, play my part on life stage. Fun. Haha, Shakespeare. Oh my God, actually. That's another thing that I did is I went to Shakespeare in the Park.
Oh, sick.
And it was very strange. They did not do a Shakespeare play. They did some sonnets and then a bunch of like original skits. I think it's because they are really low on funding, and you could tell this because they kept talking throughout it about like, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep doing this, and they were not able to hire enough actors to like do a full Shakespeare play. So
oh my God.
Yeah, it was a very strange experience because I'm going to be honest, I think these original skits were not as good as just seeing a Shakespeare play would have been, or even the sonnets were.
Holy shit! Wait! Can I hear about any of these skits?
Oh
like,
man,
what?
there were some like musical numbers about here's all the type of horrible ways that people have died in Shakespeare plays, and they're complaining about it, or a skit about like the bear of Exit Pursued by Bear fame, being like, wow, I was kidnapped from Iceland to be here, but actually it's kind of a good thing because I got to hear the sacred words of the bard. Because apparently there was like an actual there was like a bear baiting arena like right next to the Globe Theater. So it may have been a real bear of Exit Pursued by, but yeah, it's a lot.
Holy shit.
It was the vibe was very like, okay, guys, we're putting something on. We are not able to do a full play. And also we are really going to remind people, or we are really expressing our kind of existential dread in this performance, both, I guess, because it's on their mind, but also it was very like, so yeah, give us a big donation, guys. You want to see fucking Midsummer Night's Dream again?
This is your fault.
Yeah, it was a lot.
This is because you don't love the theater. It's not our fault.
It was strange. Anyway, so yeah, sorry. She plays her parts on live stage. Yeah, a lot. We really keep coming back to fire. Which, we know about Fire Walk with Me. I'm interested in her, like, yeah, sometimes it's not anger, but could it be, like, it may appear as such, but could it be a clue? I don't know. It's funny, we've talked about these things being like, how the fuck was this supposed to get people into Twin Peaks? But it is kind of doing like, now guys, there might be clues, go and look for them, you know? Yeah. And of course, like, I don't know, this one feels somewhat self-explanatory in the sense of like, the answer cannot come before all are ready to hear. I mean, part of that, I think, is just, the last time we saw her, she was like, my log is not yet ready and whatever. But I wonder if this is also like, guys, I can't reveal who killed Laura Palmer. Twin Peaks isn't over yet or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
Yeah. But yeah, do you have any other log lady thoughts or shall we move on?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay. So, by the way, before I give the recap, I was just looking at like the Wikipedia on this page. So this episode was viewed by approximately 18% of the available audience for it during its broadcast, or about 11% of the like US population, which is kind of
holy shit.
Yeah, right? I think that like we've talked about like Twin Peaks became kind of astonishingly like normie popular. But honestly, I feel like even the biggest TV like event TV shows of today would not have 11% of the population, or like almost 20% of the people who were able to watch TV be watching it. That is a massive, that's fucking huge.
I would be surprised if we see that for like, if Americans see that for like the Oscars or the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
at this
right?
point.
Yeah, it's really...
That is nuts. And this is like a random episode. This is like a random mid-season episode.
Yeah, I'm sure that we have the numbers on some of the other ones, but yeah, I just saw that for this one and it was like, wow, that is a big fucking number.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot going on. Anyway, the investigation makes headway both mundane and uncanny, finding out that Jacques Renault was managing advertisements for both Laura and Ronnette in Flesh World. In the Spirit World, however, the log is now ready to speak and reveals potent clues about the night of Laura's murder. The boys find 2 cabins, the second containing the scene of at least some of the crimes done to Laura. Meanwhile, the Icelanders are coming. Leland tries and fails to be normal. Audrey gets deeper into both her investigation and Dale's bedsheets. James and Donna team up with Maddy, even though James is sad that his mom is a slut. Bobby has a no good, very bad therapy session. Josie is on some double, triple scheme shit. And say it with me, Leo Johnson gets what he had coming. Woo!
Let's fucking go!
How'd you find this episode? I feel like I was thinking like we've been very just kind of jumping into like recap, but I don't know. How'd you find it?
I really enjoyed it. I felt like there was a lot of catharsis here, especially in the aforementioned Leo Johnson getting what he had coming. I feel like with the log lady scene and the following scene, I'm finally starting to sort of understand what the woods is meant to mean. And like, yeah, just like a little bit about how I meant to interpret the show. I really did not care for James being sad that his mom is a slut.
It's so silly. Yeah.
But even with that, I would say that it did it for me a fair bit more than the last episode. And it's really nice to see some sort of concrete links being made between the dreamy stuff, the visiony stuff, and like the actual straightforward investigation. How about you?
Yeah, no, this is a fun one. It's funny. I forgot like how much capital P plot there is in season 1 of Twin Peaks. Like a lot of my memory of it was like the vibes and also the kind of like soap opera type, like, you know, everyone's cheating on each other and it just kind of like swirls around. And like we get some of this here, right? Like people are double and triple crossing each other. But I forgot how much there is a like, oh, the investigation is proceeding. We are learning things. And also like events in Twin Peaks keep happening at a pretty fast pace. I guess also just that there's 8 episodes in this season, which for like 1990 when this is out is like, I think definitely smaller than usual.
Oh, definitely. It's kind of, I mean, because you said season 2 is what, like 20 something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's more
kind of
what you would get. Yeah. So it's funny. I was like, one of the things we had talked about doing when we started the podcast was maybe like ranking episodes as we go, of being like, was episode 3 better or worse than episode 2? And like at the end of this, having a categorically ranked Twin Peaks episodes. But I felt like it's hard to do. And part of that, like you can tell in the recap of each of these, every episode is kind of just like, and here's a bit of what this character has going on, you know, in a way that I think would make it hard to like, be, you know what I mean? It's not like, and in episode 7, you know, that's the one where this bit like Daenerys gets a dragon or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, well, okay, so in episode 7, you know, in this episode, okay, he goes to therapy, she shoots him, like it's like, so yeah, but anyway.
I will say on that note, actually, that I feel like a lot of previous episodes built, like spent time laying groundwork that this episode pays off on.
Yes, yeah.
And I wouldn't want to begrudge those episodes for that, because yes, they may have been less exciting, but they are part of why this episode hit so hard.
Yeah. And it is a lot of things building, like even like thinking about fucking Hank with his fucking domino. Like we have had him slowly getting out of jail, and now in this episode he's punches Leo at the end, and like we know that he's gonna do things, but he is kind of just like, we're getting a little bit of him. But anyway, all to say, fun episode, and I liked it. And things are fucking moving in Twin Peaks,
heating up.
So shall we jump in scene by scene? Shall I get this first one?
Let's do it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we open with the Scandinavians are not gone. They are back. The Icelanders are here.
In a different form.
Exactly. And Dale Cooper's miserable about it because he is getting woken up at 4 a.m. by their like rousing fucking Icelandic songs.
And I will tell you that I really thought they were Quebecois at the start, and I got fucking hyped.
So funny.
Because like the folk song was very similar.
Is that why you wrote, what? Why did you write All Men Are Brothers? Is that of like why the Quebecois are so like the Icelanders?
Yeah, that's exactly why.
That's so funny. Yeah, so he's getting woken up. He records a note about it to Diane, and he's very unhappy. Then so, we see him presumably at the morning. He is getting his food brought to him. Audrey shows up. Her theme starts playing. She's like, "Please, Dale Cooper, can I help you with the case?" And he goes, "No, do not give me any clues. I don't want to know anything. By the way, how old are you?" She says 18, and he's like, "Well, okay, goodbye." This is my very, I'm giving it rough and loose on this one.
He's a thing to know is that Dale is in a bad mood.
Yes,
he's
very
he's
cranky.
running on no sleep. One thing that that happens in the very start is that he picks up his recorder and like records the men singing
Mhm.
for Diane, his secretary, just to be like, look at the shit I'm dealing with. And I guess he's like mailing these tapes back to her.
Yeah, I think we both noted this of like it's very unclear by what process. Because he's like, yeah, please overnight me some earplugs. It's very...
Bro, go buy them at the store.
Lol. But yeah, but it is very unclear. I mean, I think this is very intentional. I feel like Diane, like, we have not seen her at all so far. Do you think we're going to? I don't know. Just throwing that to you.
No, I don't think we will. But
Okay.
also there's a lot of shows, so maybe in season 3 is like, if I'm gonna make a guess, that's it.
Yeah, but she's like, it almost, feels kind of like audience surrogate in the sense that, like, he's just kind of saying these things to Diane in order so that we can see him have some shit to say. And like, also very few, if any, of his like things to Diane have been like mystery related. They've all just been like, what does he say here? He's like, it just goes to show once you leave your home, I pulled up the script. He says, once a traveler leaves his home, he loses almost 100% of his ability to control his environment. It's just like all of what he is sending to Diane is just like, man, that pie was great, or wow, I can't sleep, or fucking who shot JFK.
Oh my god, right. Oh, it's so funny. You know what? I had a question for you about the scene. How do you read Dale with Audrey at the breakfast table? Like, he is dismissing her, shooing her away, sort of. But the standing close to her and asking, how old are you? She goes, 18. He goes, see you later, Audrey. Is that a see you later as in get out of town? Or is this a see you later as in I will see you later?
It is very ambiguous.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we will certainly talk about this at the end of the episode. But
oh, baby.
It is I really don't know how to read it. And I don't really know what to think of either him as a character or what the show thinks about it. And
yeah,
I will certainly talk about this at the end, but like, I think the show being so popular, the fact that like Audrey, in the same way of like, I watched The Sopranos and I'm like, wow, one of my favorite things about The Sopranos is the fact that Tony Soprano is like never cool. He always looks pathetic, but then you get men who watch it and we're like, fuck, he was so cool still somehow. I think that like, I think one of the big things that makes Audrey like, I think contentious for me, I guess, like as a character, is that the way that I feel about her is so different from how I think the kind of cultural understanding of Audrey Twin Peaks, which is like, she's so sexy.
Oh God, that's what people think of her?
I mean like, and it's like, she is acting sultry. She is like kind of affecting a femme fatale, but
this
like,
is true.
I think like as a like cultural artifact, like in the way that like, people have told me like my girlfriend kind of looks like Audrey, what they're saying is like, like that. I think that there is very, like, I think there were a lot of people that were like, Dale should have got it. And again, also, like, I think this is something that, this era of TV and movies, a 18-year-old getting together with a 35-year-old. I mean, patriarchy, we know about it, but also like, I don't know, this is like, it's funny. I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about, and they were like, yeah, that's like Han and Leia. And it is, like, this is very like normalized, I think, especially in like TV and movies at this point.
35 years ago.
So there was like, I think you and I watching this being like, the idea of Dale and Audrey getting together feels gross, right? That would be appalling. Is not how I think a lot of people were watching this were feeling about it. And I think also the idea that like Audrey is like, we can look at the character Audrey and be like, you are a sex symbol and that is how I will take you, I think much more prevalent than you or I would assume.
Yeah, this makes sense. I will take you at your word on that. I will say that I think, I mean, the show's obsession with affairs makes me think that it just sees like a sexiness and moral transgression in general, you know, like the fact that them getting together would be like bad makes it like, ooh, isn't it also kind of bad?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
She's someone who finds a lot of glee in like manipulating, and that like she feels powerful in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My other note on this scene is well, one, I think it is really interesting that because we know Audrey like has been trying to like she wants to become her own detective, and this is true both like narratologically, as in like we've talked about, she's trying to like she's making her own plot line so that she can like, you know, kind of like be the protagonist of it, but
yeah,
she does also want to like go off with Dale Cooper, and I think that the way that she envisions that is that she wants to like become Dale Cooper's like FBI agent, like co-agent, I think, you know?
Oh, damn.
That's
wow.
I feel that, like, you know, and
Oh.
you know, like she, and I think, I don't know, I think there's a lot to be said there, even just about like, is this something that she wants because she thinks Dale is cool, or does she want to, I don't know, it's kind of classic. Also, wow, agency makes you think. But I don't know. But she is very like, hello, Dale Cooper. I'm not just flirting with you. I am like, she's saying like, I can start to work at the perfume counters, I think is what she's trying to start saying here.
Yes, definitely.
And she's saying like, I want to participate in solving this. Let's collaborate. And he wants nothing to do with it, which I'm like, I made a note of, because like, obviously he's like, well, kind of turns down the flirting. It's very ambiguous, but he is like, she does, you know, he has made a note of like the perfume counter, and he is very pointedly cuts her off and is like, I don't have time for this, Audrey. I like, and I don't know, for Dale Cooper, who so far has been very about being like open and receptive to like clues wherever they come from, you know, whether it's from throwing a rock at a fucking like bottle, you know, or whatever. Really struck me him, like Audrey is in the middle of the sentence in which he would reveal a clue to him, and he goes, no, I'm not interested. I don't want that. Do not reveal clue to me. Feels very pointed, and I don't really know what to make of it. I don't know. Do you have capital T thoughts?
I mean, he's got this cold disposition with her in general, and I think it might just be his way of like keeping her at arm's length for moral decency reasons. I mean, it's possible that he definitely underestimates her, but also he maybe is on to her. Her like scheme to become an investigator herself, and like he doesn't take that seriously. I don't know whether he should or not, but
it's funny. I wonder if, again, thinking of this motivation as like crypto, like narratological, as opposed to like character motivation strictly, if this is like, no, Audrey, I'm the investigator. You'd like, you know what I mean? Like, is it like, I will not let you usurp being the person who gets clues?
Yeah, I could see that. Want to get on to the next scene, or you got anything else?
Yeah. My only other note here is that we, especially like right after this Log Lady intro who keeps talking about smoke and fire and whatnot, I noticed that the room that's like, so he's in like one of the dining rooms, and there are people coming out of one that was called the smoke room. And I don't know if that's the kitchen. I think later on there was the timber room. So either it's just a room where people can be smoking, because that's legal at this point in time, or like there's a, you know, it's like hotel style. They all have like different names. But I just wrote down that I was like, the smoke room. I don't really have anything about that, but this show keeps throwing these images and like, hey guys, think about smoke and fire.
No,
and
it
stuff.
is certainly. I mean, it's a weird enough name for a room in a log cabin. It's a lodge, right? It's made of prominently wood.
Strange.
So that feels very intentional. Yeah, interesting. Good catch.
Yeah. Anyway, next up. Want to take us away?
So, by the way, at the towards the end of this last scene, we see Jerry being Ben Horn's brother, the slightly sleazy guy, just like coming out with an Icelander, being like, "Oh, I love to party with you," or whatever. And
he fucking calls him like, I think like, sons of Odin.
Oh my god, crypto fascist alert. Not even crypto. He's a fascinating guy. Anyway, in the scene we watch him waltz into Ben's office. He talks about how much he loves all of these Icelandic guys and how much, they're thrilled about the business deal. And Ben is like, I fucking hate these guys. All of our customers hate these guys because they were singing all night. Like, are you kidding me, man? But Jerry is blinded by love. He has met an Icelandic diva, a goddess, whom he describes as a Heba, the giant snow queen. And in trying to convince his brother that this is like a cool lady, he like lunges over to his backpack and pulls out a bloodied leg of lamb and is like, she gave me this whole leg of lamb.
A massive leg. It's
anyway, so this
funny.
is T for T. I just need to put that out there.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you wrote it down. It's funny, I have less notes just because my wrists have been really sore, but I was gonna bring it up. And when I watched this, like with our mutual friend Benji, of course we were like, yeah, this is T for T.
5 feet
it's
tall.
So funny.
He's
like
dressed so fucking cool.
Yes, the show keeps being like he's so short, and he's like, I love this tall snow giant. It's so
and look at
funny.
this bloodied thing she gave me. I need her so bad. This is so many trans guys.
So
anyway,
funny.
Is that bad optics to throw that out there? I'm right.
Yeah, we're allowed.
So Ben says that, later this night he's going to be throwing a reception with like a bunch of, guests, a gala for the investors. And he says, maybe if I really need to sweeten the deal, I can take them down to, and then he covers his eye and it's like, oh, I get it. One-eyed Jacks. And then Jerry says, oh yeah, one-eyed Jacks. I know exactly what you mean. It's a little reminder that like, oh yeah, this is made for 11% of Americans to watch, we can't afford to deal in even the slightest subtlety.
Well, it's so weird, except for we can. It's really both at the same time. Like, it's shouting that at you, but then also it's like got these weird layer. Anyway, this is Twin Peaks. It's so
totally,
strange. But yeah,
there will be some stuff in here that I like is totally inscrutable to me. Anyway, here we have Leland come in. Is that right? Leland, of course, Laura Palmer's bereaved father. He walks in and he looks like he's coming from a different show. He's just, all of his clothes are ruffled and he's not, just businessy. And he looks just like sick with grief. And he says he really wants to help out, with the Icelanders. He wants to like be put to work, and he's sort of dismissed. He's almost like eye rolled at by Ben, saying, you need to rest.
Well, yeah, and I think he's saying like go be with Sarah. And I forgot if he's like go be with her or like go on vacation with her somewhere or something, but he's like, I'm afraid to go, which is like, whoa damn.
My goodness. So first thing I want to call out here is the very second Leland walks in, we get some music starting. Before it was, I don't think there was any music. And here we get like the trademark sort of slow, sad synths.
Yeah.
And I just thought of that line about how, oh man, what is it? Something about how there's always music in the air. By Laura in the dream world, Laura's cousin, I should say, a couple episodes earlier. So it's interesting how the show sort of distinguishes between different A plot, B plot, C plot by like with musical cues that just follow the characters around. So Leland, every time he's in a scene, there's music playing. Like every scene I can think of, he just like carries it around with him. And there's an even better example of this later in the episode.
Well, and I think it's interesting because I think, we've talked about this. I think the character for whom that is, I think, most true is Audrey. Like she walks in and it like and it starts playing Audrey's scene every time. And like we've talked about how it's like she makes it be diegetic, or sometimes it is just playing in the score. But like I think, which is really interesting because like it has fucking Laura's theme. That's like, this is Laura's theme. And like, we don't even really have a Dale Cooper's theme, but we do have Audrey's theme. And I believe it is like called that. It's, I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah, no, I'm really intrigued by this of like how music, is like something that is like signaling something about characters and how they like carry them around is really
That
interesting
is
to
so
me.
interesting. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this scene?
Yeah, my other notes, I just wrote down, okay, we do need to talk about Jerry, because it's like we talked about this before. Like, we're saying, like, he is evil. We don't fuck with the Horn brothers. However, he's very funny and very like charming as a character. He walks in, he was like, I was at the fertile treeless tundra of Iceland. And okay, we need to talk about his
Please.
shirt. I wrote, it's like it's like he has the fucking buttons on shuffle. It's like this big, oversized button down, but like the buttons are like arranged in these like weird like patterns of like, and they're like they are kind of on shuffle. Like there's just two that are next to each other, and then a big space with none, and then like two that are diagonal. And they're like connected by these like black bands of fabric.
And he always has an interesting, like,
it's
not quite bolo tie, but like a little link at the top of his collar.
Yeah.
He's a very fashionable guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I see in your notes you just wrote, Jerry is so hot. He looks like Matrix X Runway.
Yeah, he looks like a fashion house's take on Neo.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, I think it is very intriguing. I mean, one is just like every time they're on screen, it's just like so goofy, except for then when it gets very serious very fast. But I think it is very, I don't know. I think one of the things about this show is that like this show is like dudes rock, you know? And then, but also sometimes when it's time to think about like, you know, the violence that they expose women to, it's like, but sometimes dudes don't rock. Or the fact that dudes rock is like the heart of the evil, you know?
Yeah, totally.
But it really does believe in dudes rock in the same way that it believes in like the beauty of Twin Peaks or of Laura Palmer or whatever. But yeah, very crazy guy.
Very crazy guy.
But yeah, so moving on, we are seeing the police and what they're up to. So they are in Jacques Renault's apartment, and which we saw them kind of bust into last time. They're giving it a thorough search with a like forensic squad. Dale shows up. Dale is so exhausted. He is like a real little meow meow until he gets his donut and coffee.
Aww.
I know, it's so funny. In the notes, it says Jacques worked at the lumber mill until he gained weight, but then he started tending bar. I'm like, when did we learn? Who says that?
I think it's Harry who says that.
Okay, yeah, Harry's just kind of like expositing about Jacques Renault. So yeah, we know that he was the bartender who we presume spiked Ed's drink. So yeah, they don't know where he is. They don't know where Bernie is. They said he jumped bail. I think we know what happened to him, unfortunately.
He got shot Leo style.
Yeah. Dr. Hayward is like, oh, the blood on the shirt isn't Laura's. It's, I think he says like it's AB positive or something.
AB
and Dale's
negative,
like, AB negative. He's like, that is Jacques Renault's. And what do you know? Later he gets it confirmed. Jacques Renault had AB negative. Dale Cooper, the big detective, on it again. This scene is crazy. So we see the boys, and Dale is kind of looking up at the ceiling, and it's like, hey, Harry, can you give me a leg up? And he does, and then pulls down from the ceiling with some tweezers a Flesh World magazine, which I guess was stuck to the ceiling?
Yeah, where the fuck was it? Well, I mean, like, I feel like in shows when people are hiding something, it's, if anything, like above the ceiling, but he just...
Or like, would have been like on the ceiling fan, but it sure seems like it's just like adhesively stuck to the ceiling, which is so funny because it's like, did no one see it and be like, this is so weird? But he's like, he gets it down and there, it's very like, it's out of frame almost. So it is out of like the frame. So like all the other characters have like no way of perceiving it. It's very funny.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
The fact that this magazine is called Flesh World. Sorry, I'll let you recap.
It's
but
crazy.
Holy shit. That's a nuts name for like a hookup personals magazine.
Yeah, I think we like last time we were like, why is it? Yeah, but it is a lot. It's very strange. So they are looking through Flesh World. Unfortunately, we get our first big transmisogyny L of Twin Peaks, in which we're like, oh my god, this guy's a beard, but lingerie, that's crazy. But the other things that we learn is that this is like something that like you would put an ad, and it's still unclear to what degree this is like just personals or if it is like sex work or some, like, if Jacques Renault had ads for, like, as we learn, like, Laura and Ronnette, that implies that he is like a pimp for them.
Yeah, right?
And like, it's unclear to what degree that is known by the people like in flesh, like mailing into Flesh World, because like a lot of the other ads that we see are just kind of normal. But yeah, so we learn about the, as the wiki says, quote unquote, transvestite.
Oh boy.
And still, again, why is there a picture of Leo Johnson's truck? We talked about this in the pilot, I think, when we saw it, because it like crossfaded to his truck. But like, and I was looking, because when it paused on that, it shows like the other ads, and none of them seem like they're like describing Leo Johnson. So I'm like, is this like Canadian drug cabal also like editing Flesh World, and they're just like, yes, the page on which we put the truck is the page on which our like girls that we're corralling are? Or did Leo Johnson just independently take out a Flesh World ad to go look at my cool truck? It's so strange.
Well, you know what they say. Born on a mountain, raised in a cave, trucking and fucking is all
that I crave. So true. Yeah. So I think we come back later when we get them like actually talking more about like Laura and Ronnette being in there. But it's funny, this was like there were two shots in the scene where we see like the boys like lined up. I put this one in the show notes. I think I forget if this scene or later, but like Dale holding up his little magnifying glass up to the magazine and saying like, "Red drapes Harry from my dream." And I just found this one so funny, because doesn't it look like the fucking like Marxist like foreheads like posters?
Oh my god.
Especially the one later on, but it's very just like all the boys are gazing.
And it's a beautiful shot.
Yeah. And again, the other thing here is that like Dale is once again like almost perversely excited at like, oh, clue. You know, he's just like, fuck yeah, we're getting clues. And like it is even like when things are ominous, when things are salacious, he is just like equally excited, because he is like, fuck yes, I get to get a clue.
That's very true.
Did you have other notes here?
Oh yeah, so they find the picture of the transvestite or whatever, but they comment on the picture that the beard sort of ruins the effect of the lingerie, and I just want to emphatically disagree with that.
Yeah,
the picture is not even a picture you can really use to mock someone. It's like,
he's serving. This is what your notes say.
This is it. I stand by it. I want to make note of the blood on the shirt. So in the last episode, correct me if I'm wrong, Bobby planted this bloodied shirt of Leo's in this apartment.
Yes.
And with the idea that they would maybe implicate Leo in the crime and get him arrested, so that Bobby and Shelley can
sorry, this is weird to think about. How the fuck did Leo have a shirt with Jacques Renault's blood on it?
So that's the thing. Like, they thought they were framing him, but it might not have been a framing. It might actually be his blood. We don't have it hard confirmed either way. I mean, like, there's only so many blood types, you know? This is not like a genetic testing thing.
Again, the fact that Dale was like, that means it's Jacques Renault's, I think does like, you know, Dale has definitely like announced his detective's intuition on that, you know?
Sure, that's a good point. Yeah, anyway, I think that's a fun twist in their conspiracy working out better than they expected.
Yeah.
As it will continue to.
Well, because also, like, this makes it seem like Jacques Renault got in a fight with Leo, like, in terms of them just finding it in this apartment, this makes it seem like Jacques Renault got in a fight with Leo, bled on him, and then beat Leo up so bad that he took his shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what is the narrative we're crafting here? That's so funny. I have no fucking clue, man.
I also need to shit out your note where you just wrote Harry has a bit of a mullet. If he was a lesbian, would. Yeah.
Yeah, he's hot. He's hot.
Yeah. I
love being horny for all the men in the show in the world where they are female.
You know, it's funny, when I watched this for the first time with Benji kept being like, Hawk is, I think, the hottest character on the show. And I was like, at first I was like, I didn't really get it. And there's a point at which he starts wearing one dangly earring. And then instantly I was like, okay, no, I get it.
Oh, you're so real for that, Sadie. That's so funny.
Yeah. But anyway, shall we move on?
Yeah, let's take the next one.
Okay.
Okay. Interior, Casa de Shelley, daytime. So we have Shelley making breakfast for Bobby as he sits at the table smoking a cigarette. And they're talking about how they're gonna totally own Leo's ass. Like, so Shelley says, what would you do if he burst through the door right now? And they have this little sexual fantasy moment where they kind of wrap up in each other's arms, and Bobby caresses her tit with a gun and goes like, it gives this little monologue that he's so like satisfied about, being like, hey Bobby, what does he say?
Oh, I think it's because Shelley was saying like, oh, Leo doesn't like my cooking, and I think Bobby's like, oh yeah, you don't like Shelley's cooking? Well, I think you should cook a meal for us right now.
And if even one syllable of disrespect comes out of your mouth, I'm gonna shoot you, or something like that.
Yes.
And then, oh, it's so good. And then there's like a knock at the door or a ring or something, and he instantly snaps out of it and goes like, oh, I have to fucking hide now.
Yeah, it's really, I'm like so struck in this by like that this fantasy is like one in like all this has been very like true throughout, like partially like we're seeing the idea that Shelley is like attracted to Bobby because he's kind for being a dangerous bad boy, but like it's so wound in this that like the thing that is attracted to Bobby is that will be used to free her from Leo, right? That like he is a vehicle of violence that can do what she can't and like get Leo out of her life for the moment. At least she can't, or but that fantasy is like completely fake. Like not only is he a little bitch who's like, I need to go hide, but like, he's fucking buying drugs from Leo. He's like meeting up with him, and like if they're fucking, like business partners that he is hiding from her. And that like, this fantasy is like, and unfortunately I think seems completely self-defeating,
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so it's not Leo who's actually arrived at the door. It is Andy, the policeman. And he's come around to ask like if she's seen Leo, and she's just plants a bunch of information to him, very brazenly trying to frame Leo by giving at least what I believe to be false details about the night of the murder.
Yeah.
Saying
very like oh my God, this isn't about Laura, is it?
This isn't about Laura. I heard him talking with Jacques Renault the night of the murder about Laura and like what they were gonna do. So yeah, Andy responds basically like, let us know as soon as he's home. Obviously this is pretty concerning. And he leaves, and Bobby exits the walk-in pantry or whatever, hot water closet, and passes back the gun. And and then Leo calls and says, I'm gonna be home soon, and I miss you. Sorry, like let me revise that. Leo calls and says, I'm gonna be home soon, and like, has anyone asked about me? And she goes, oh, what the fuck is it?
Like, what's that? Is anybody looking for you? Leo, what would anyone be looking for you for? You know how paranoid you get. You've been popping bennies on the road a couple days. And just like the like, everything's fine, come on home. Leo, I miss you too, as she's like eyeing the gun.
Yeah. Okay, so that I miss you too that she gives in like, it almost seems like a moment where she's actually feeling that, or it's not purely an act. She looks sad or guilty maybe, and I'm wondering what your read on that is.
It's funny now that I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about the end of the episode where she fucking shoots him. This does, and I genuinely do not remember how this goes, but this does make me scared that she missed him. Because it's very like the gun goes off and then we see like this is way at the end we'll see it like and then we see like the ceiling like lamp swaying and whatever, but we don't see that he's been shot. And it would be very this type of TV to be like, no, never mind, she missed him.
Holy shit. Okay, Sadie, it's so funny that you're saying this as if you don't know what happens.
I don't. Like, I do not remember. This is genuine.
Wait, what? Holy shit. But you know if he's in the rest of the show, right?
It's weird. And I do not remember what occurs here.
Oh my God.
Genuinely.
Huh.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's
cool.
that I certainly think about that. I don't know. I didn't really like I definitely my initial read on it is very just like, playing along with what he wants to say. I think it's reasonable that there's something there if like she misses what Leo was, before.
Sure.
And I don't know. I think this is like very the show is being very on the nose about this, and this is definitely in the like category of things that it isn't on the nose soap opera about, but it definitely is like she says, wow, I liked Leo because he was so cool and badass, but as soon as we got married he was a shithead. Anyway, here's Bobby, he's so cool and badass, I can't wait to be with him instead of Leo. And yeah, there's a lot. My other notes are like, I love okay, actually, first of all, you mentioned the decoration. There's this like in this first shot of Shelley, there's this like crazy, I don't even know what to call it. I just wrote hot dog themed wall decoration because like above their stove, I'm going to make the picture bigger in our notes, okay. So this,
I'm going to say it's like a party platter with like several.
Okay, that's kind of what yeah, but it's like hung on the wall and it has like 5 kind of compartments, I guess, like party platter style. Top left, a hot dog. Top right, hot dog. In the middle, all the way through, a big wiener dog, like a
very long.
Yeah, but like the animal type. And I don't even know what the fuck are in these bottom ones. It's like bottom right, is it like a person at a fireplace, maybe?
Oh, that's not a bad guess. I was gonna say that bottom right is a person handing another person a hot dog, and then bottom left is a balloon animal.
Those are like a balloon little wiener dog. Oh my God, wait, and actually, because I think it is a fire, I think bottom right might be someone like fucking like grilling a hot dog on a fire type thing, like when you're camping, is so funny. Yeah, sorry, I was just like so distracted by that at the beginning of this like crazy hot dog themed wall mounted platter.
No, it's nuts. It's hideous.
It's so funny. But yeah, the other thing is just like, I love like David Lynch, I think, really likes to be like, and then for this scene, like you're just gonna have really stilted acting, and I think that's actually part of how, especially in Twin Peaks, I think he like, you get a sense of what kind of narrative role a character has by their act, like the style of their acting. I almost said caliber, but I think it is like an intentional choice to make them be like that,
Where
like
they're all strong actors.
James is like this later on. Like when you're in soap opera mode, they are acting like a soap opera actor who is just really showing up for the day, gets given their lines, and Andy's like, oh my God, well, tell us as soon as he drops by, and then like
He's
when
just
we're
serving a narrative purpose, right?
Well, and I think it's like a tone thing. I think it's saying like right now, engage with this as a soap opera in which people are acting in the kind of like janky way that they do in soap operas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, when we get, like Laura or Donna, or like when we get this very more kind of like quote unquote realistic acting, and acting that is really like selling the pathos, like that is telling us engage with this as a very convincing piece of pathos, as opposed to like just engage with this, like as a soap opera, as like, I don't know, it's really interesting. But it is also just very funny and charming, I think, how much in this scene Andy is just like, oh my God, that's crazy,
Can I make a bit of a tenuous connection here?
Please.
I think you should leave. I think plays with that a lot. where characters will be speaking in different registers. One is a normal human being, one is an absurdist sketch show, you know?
Yeah. One is fucking. Is he Tim Erickson? I'm forgetting his name. Tim Robinson.
Tim Robinson.
Tim Robinson. Yeah.
So they will be in the like absurdist mode, and then someone will say something to totally break out of it. And a lot of the humor is from like the hard adjustment. You know, so I'm thinking of the scene where he is where Tim is playing Carmine Leguzio, the man who dresses up in like a huge human-like suit and goes and does pranks at the mall.
Yeah.
And so it transitions from like the silly, oh, we're on a prank show, into like, I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to even be around anymore. And it's like, yes, it's funny, but it's also, holy shit, I was not expecting this pathos from this little sketch. Like a lot of it is just, the show seems like it shouldn't be profound. And then what makes it unique is that it gets serious and it commits to being serious. It's not like, oh, he's sad and that's the funny part. It's like, wait, how do I adjust to this? How do I? So this reminds me of, partly just how people seem to act as if they're in different like genres, and partly how Bobby switches so quickly from the bravado into the scared little boy in the cupboard.
Yeah. Also, honestly, I think there are any number of lines from I Think You Could Leave that you could imagine someone in like Twin Peaks Red Room saying.
Oh my god!
I think you should leave. What are the fuck? You know, slap them up, boys. Anyway.
Oh, that's super funny.
Should we move on? Shall we get the next one?
Yeah. Let's. Shall I take this one?
Oh, actually, before we move on, I think my final note on this scene. I'm just like, what is the plan here? Like, they're really like, yeah, we're gonna frame him, but also shoot him, and also get the cops on him, and they just really seem to have a very mixed bag of like ways that they think they want to get rid of him, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think that speaks to sort of their motives in these moments. It seems to me like they're doing this. It's almost like a sexual fantasy.
Yes,
you know,
definitely.
It's like a little escapist thing that gives that makes them feel that like eroticizes the fact that they're cheating on each other, basically.
Yeah. Well, and I think just eroticizes like, I could get out of this shitty marriage, you know?
Yeah, totally. So I feel like they're probably just following every lead because every lead sounds like exciting and sexy.
Yeah.
Despite
the fact that I think if you were gonna shoot him, having the cops after him makes that actively harder for you to get away with, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I can't wait to get to that one scene.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, here, take us to Big Ed's gas farm.
Great. Yeah. Okay. So Norma pays Ed a visit at his gas station. Says, "Hope you don't mind my coming," as if it's not the gas station.
Yeah. I love your note. Just girl, it's the gas station.
Ed says that Nadine is out. His wife, of course, on whom he is cheating with Norma. Nadine is meeting a patent attorney for her drape runners. Norma has come to let Ed know that her imprisoned husband Hank is coming out, like he got parole.
He's coming out.
And basically asks him, like, have you told Nadine yet? And I don't remember if we like know what this is in reference to, but presumably just that that Ed and Norma are together and will be like eloping or something.
This is my this is what I would imagine.
Yeah. So we learn that neither of them have told their partners yet. Ed, because he's maybe just like getting cold feet. He says Nadine is not well, and he just like maybe doesn't feel like he can do that to her.
Yeah. It's not very clear though, like to what, like, does he just mean that she's like in her little land as she has been about like the drape runners and everything, or like it doesn't, like she doesn't, you know, she's not like deathly ill, right? So there is a degree to which it's like, you know, what's the deal here? Why do you think you are like duty bound to stay with Nadine?
Yeah, totally. I don't get the sense that this is a recent development, that she's like a little quirky.
Yeah.
Norma is upset by this news that well, she can just sense that Ed is not going to follow through for her. And she says, don't call me, not for a while. It's like a soft breakup.
I wouldn't be surprised if part of that is like also Hank will be in my home, don't call my home, but it definitely is, I think, given the valence of like, okay, buddy, if this is how you're going to be, don't call me for a bit, you know?
Yeah, totally. Not a ton to discuss in the scene, but I do want to call out that the shot that contains both of them I thought was excellent. So they are standing outside the gas station, framed by what I assume is like a car related piece of machinery. I don't know, it's just like just a couple big rods of metal, but they're sort of in there diagonally, and they frame the couple in like the middle like quarter of the frame, and then everything else is totally empty. It just feels very claustrophobic. And yeah, I just thought that was like a very striking and cool frame. And then after she leaves, that frame sort of breaks and Ed is standing outside of it.
Yeah, it's very fun. Yeah, I don't know. I this is one of the scenes that I was just kind of like, damn, these two. I don't really have any more notes, but did you have more on this one?
Well, I have something kind of simmering, which is that I'm sensing some sort of parallel between the couple of Ed and Norma and the couple of James and Donna. I think both of them use their romances as like an escape from reality.
I mean, also fucking Bobby and Shelley, who we were, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think like most of the secret couples are actually doing that. So I don't know why these two in particular feel that way. I think it might just be that I feel like they have a very strong bond. I'm not sure. I'm keeping tabs on that.
I think there actually, you know, this does make me think, because I feel like there is like something there about like how we, you know, have talked so much about Twin Peaks, the town, as like having these dualities of like, you know, good and evil, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like there's something about like that the town has this like, you know, the town as Dale Cooper first sees it, of all these like happy couples, which are actually all kind of miserable. And that each of them have this like, you know, they're cheating on each other, and that the cheating is fueling a dream world that is allowing them to exist in reality. I don't know. I think there's something there, like we've talked about, like, you know, the kind of like underworld of Twin Peaks. And I think like the idea that this underbelly, you know, it obviously part of that is like the violence and the like, especially like patriarchal violence and the fucking French Canadian drug ring. But there is also like, I think part of it is like, I think there's this idea that like the thing that is sustaining the reality of Twin Peaks is this dream of it. And that the underworld dream is like more beautiful to these people than the reality. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Things to, totally. I think like the certainly like the show and like a lot of how, you know, it's kind of like understood, and a lot of David Lynch's stuff generally is like, you know, fucking Blue Velvet opening shot, like the darkness underneath the light, you know, the fucking all the little bugs underneath the like picket fence suburb, you know. But I think it's interesting the moments here where like or you know what I mean, like the things that killed Laura Palmer underneath the idyllic, you know, niceness of Twin Peaks. I think there's something interesting about the idea that like the underbelly, the things that are hidden, are actually where people want to go. They would rather be there than in the exposed reality in some ways, because it like you know, it's what fuels it for them. It's what gives them romance and dreams and escape and whatever, you know.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. Anyway,
Wow.
shall we go Audrey mode?
Let's go Audrey mode.
So
best mode of all.
So true. So Audrey is talking with Emery Battis, the manager of Horn's department store, where, you know, she talked her dad into being like, yeah, I can start there. Now he would like her to be in the back wrapping packages. And she's like, no, I want to start in perfume. We know this is because she is #investigating. I really like make a note of the opening line here is he's like, I remember when you were just a little girl, which is very pointed. It's funny. I actually have like the script open. There's like a bunch of stuff that was cut from it. Like there, you know, as often is the case. I think there are a lot of, this is very common with these type of scripts, but importantly, one of the things that was like in the original script that didn't at the end, he's like, I remember when you were just a little girl, and she goes, oh yeah, did you bounce me on your knee, Emery? Yeah.
Lolita. Oh fuck.
Wait, is that
that's I would bet money that's a Lolita reference.
Does Lolita say that, or like who is he? Like I was bouncing her on my knee or whatever.
Humbert bounces Lolita
on sure.
No, Dolores on his knee.
Okay.
Like for sick kicks.
Yeah.
And like asks her to
yeah okay, well, but yeah, so then I think, you know, the big thing here is, so he's like, I don't know about that, and she's like, is that so? Because I'm going to rip my dress and tell my father that you made a pass at me, and gets her way into perfume. So let's talk about Audrey here, because I think here she is very much putting on. We talked last episode about her kind of like enjoying putting on these performances and these masks. And this is very much her being like, I am the femme fatale. I am stepping into this role in order to like half seduce, half blackmail this guy into getting what I want. And that, like, you know, we talked last time about like how it was so frightening, her being like, I would like to be Dale Cooper, and the show being like, well, maybe you're Laura Palmer, you know? And she's trying to like leverage that here. Like, I think there's a degree of like, well, you know what I mean? Because she's like, I can get what I want by saying that you ripped my dress and made a pass at me, which I gotta say, made a pass is quite a lax phrasing for something that would rip her dress, you know? But
yeah, totally.
I don't know. I think, like, again, thinking about her either as like a kind of like narrative symbol or just like as a person in the town of Twin Peaks, I think and like, you know, obviously her dad being Ben Horn, she presumably, and like we know that she's spying on them with her fucking secret passages. Presumably I feel like she must have at some point had some inkling of, I mean, we know she does because she sees Ben with Catherine later, of like how much bullshit her dad is getting up to and like what the extent of this kind of like violence in Twin Peaks is, you know? And
yeah, I do.
Both as that and as just like this kind of like, she is like saying, okay, if I am going to have to be the type of protagonist that Laura Palmer is, I'm still going to try to like leverage that to my advantage so that I can try to be Dale Cooper in a way, you know?
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Wow. Good analysis, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm really intrigued by like, she wants to be sexy and she wants to be perceived as sexy, and she wants Dale Cooper to be into her, and she wants to like affect this like femme fatale affectation, like put that on in order to get what she wants.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think obviously we don't want Dale Cooper to actually be into her. And also, like, I think when we think about kind of popular audience reactions to Audrey Twin Peaks, you certainly, when I feel the same way, I think there is like it is a bit disgusting for people to be like, yes, Audrey, the femme fatale, you know?
Yeah, no. And like, not only is it gross, it would be shitty no matter what her age is, because that's just so reductive. Like, her whole thing in the scene is that she can slip between these two archetypes because neither of them is like really real.
And like, I think like way back in our first episode, I was saying like, I can never make up my mind on whether I think Audrey is like underwritten or is kind of done dirty, or if she like is just Well, because it's weird. Like, she does really want to, like, I don't know. It's just so strange. I feel very, honestly, like, conflicted, and I've never really reached one solid reading of Audrey as a character.
Yeah.
Because it's like what she wants, or it's like, does she really want to be the femme fatale, or is that just the way? Because, like, really, I mean, like, and again, I think that it is hard to not read this in this kind of, like, narratological, like, symbolic way, where, like, she really keeps being like, I would like to become the protagonist of my own plot line, and, like, arguably, this is what all characters are trying to do this in some degree in Twin Peaks, but she's really, like, trying to be like Dale Cooper, and we keep getting parallels between them,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
When I mentioned earlier, like, Dale is, like, excited by the scandalousness of the magazine because it has clues for him. Like, this is very Audrey core, and it really, there's so much of, like, her trying to, as, like, a character in this narrative, like, elbow her way into, I don't know, it is very, agency, I feel like, as a word is, obviously the the 2010s kind of ran rampant with it, but it does feel like she is trying to, like, claim, like, agency in the, like, being a plot agent way. She wants to be a special agent like Dale Cooper, she wants to be an agent in the plot. And the only way that is open for her to do is to, like, step into the role that she gets pigeonholed into by the audience, if this makes sense,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, the only way she can work at this store is by playing up the femme fatale with fucking Emery Battis, and the only way that she can, like, if this feels also directed at the audience, like, it feels like she's saying to the audience, okay, if the only way that you are gonna pay attention to me, or the only way that I'm going to, like, be able to move in this narrative is to be a, like, sultry, seductive victim, then that is what I will do. But it feels like that's not her end goal. It feels like, she really wants to run off with Dale Cooper, And even that, I feel so torn about whether that's, like, is it just the fantasy of, what if you were Dale Cooper and an 18-year-old girl thought you were so hot, Or is this her being like, she wants to become her own investigator, and she wants to, like, be able to make the plot move around her fucking detective's intuition, I don't know. I've been going on. Do you have thoughts on this scene?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's, well, we will return, but it's
Twin Peaks: The Return.
That's so true. Yeah, we're just starting it next episode. We're going out of order. Yeah, but it's weird. There's a lot going on with Audrey, and I really, I'm like on Audrey watch as we do this, because I really still don't have any one takeaway of how I feel about all these, like, conflicting ways that I could feel about Audrey as a character.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anywho, shall we move on? Do you want to get Donna and James, or shall I?
Yeah, sure, I'll get Donna and James.
Alrighty.
Okay. So Donna, like, runs up to meet James, who's waiting in a gazebo in a park. I guess he is called and asked her to meet. James says that he has asked her to meet because he's been keeping some secrets, and he basically wants to go into this relationship with total honesty. He says, first of all, that his dad didn't die. He was a musician.
A fate worse than death.
Yeah, I guess, and that he, like, skipped out on the family. And then he says that his mom is, she was not on the road for, like, business reasons. She is an alcoholic. She used to write poems and short stories, but I guess now she just drinks. And where she actually was in a hotel room with a couple bottles, inviting men in ... ?
Yeah. And he's so sad about this. It's so strange, this scene.
Yeah, okay, can I ask, like, are we meant to take away that his mom is just, like, having sex with guys, like, because she wants to? Or, like, is that her job?
I think Sunny, I have her wiki page open. I think it is just that she's engaging in flings with various men. I think this is just like, I don't think, although it does make it sound like it could be either. I think technically, as what we've been told in #canon things, she is just having flings. However, as presented here, it is very ambiguous whether that is true or whether this is like she is doing sex work to make money.
Yeah, totally. Because it's played like tragically, and we're meant to like feel bad for James. But if she's, I mean, okay, in any case, I would take issue with that. But if she's just fucking, why do you know? Why do you know? And why do you care, little man?
Yeah, it's so like, I mean, it's like, sure, if in real life my friend's mom was like going off and having flings for like over the weekend, he was left alone, I'd be like, that's not great. But it is just very, you know what I mean? It feels very extra as the show to be like, and by the way, we don't like this guy's mom because she's a slut. It's so strange.
Yeah, like it's played straight, right? He's not meant to be considered a misogynist.
No, he's very like, wow, poor James. And also, like, okay, I gotta say, in terms of him being like, no secrets between us, just again, how much we have been like, Laura was made of secrets. This town is full of secrets. But also there are, Dale Cooper, as long as he's around, there are no secrets. There are no secrets between us. I don't know about this James with Mr. No Secrets.
Like you think there are secrets?
Oh,
still?
I don't know. I feel like Twin Peaks generates secrets that he will have to maintain. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
And this is not said with sight of woman who's seen the show. I'm just like, I like this. The so far we've been told so much about how many secrets there are all over the place. But yeah, it's very.
Yeah.
I do not understand this scene. It's like, one, you made a note here of like, why would you say that he died? I think it is weirder to be like, no, he was. I guess he feels ashamed that his dad ran off, but. Like, so it's easier to explain he died than like, why would your dad run away? But it is still just strange in that in the middle, like in everything that's been going on, he's just like, okay, by the way, Donna, my dad is a musician and my mom fucks. It's so weird.
Yeah, I usually little scenes like this are setting up something, and I don't know what this could possibly be setting up other than I guess meeting his parents at some point.
Yeah, and like it does end with him being like, you were right. We need to find out what happened to Laura. We owe it to her. Which I will note is a very different from what Donna said last episode, right?
Which is that it's about
us. Yeah, right. I think we owe it to her versus this is about us. I don't know. Very different. I feel like there's some self-deception going on here,
Yeah, totally. Can I want to say something about the whole absent father thing.
Yeah, please.
The fact of instead choosing to say that he died.
Yeah.
That strikes me as very like grounded in this point in time, like 80s, 90s. With like the we're doing materialism about this line that James said. With the sort of like beginning of the slashing of like the social security net, there was this huge sort of cultural panic around absent fathers, especially absent Black fathers, like as we have to, like, we don't need to like feed our children or like get people education. It's the fathers, they're absent. And so like I could see the fact that felt tragic enough for him to keep a secret kind of feels like, is that where that sense of shame comes from? Like having an absent father is like, the worst conceivable thing in 1990.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wonder.
Either way, it's weird. And I really do not know what to make of it. And I think this is another one of the moments where I'm like, how conscious, like, I don't know how, and we've talked about this in like other instances, and like also about Audrey, definitely. I don't know how critical the show is of the idea of James being like, I'm so sad because my mom fucks, you know?
Yeah.
I think we've talked, like, this is like partially it is just doing like this I'm sure this is very like, the kind of like, very like mainline, conservative leaning soap opera stuff. This would be, no one would bat an eye at this. And I don't know if
True.
the show just agrees with that. I don't know if the show is like, this is another facet of the hypocrisy of Twin Peaks. It's strange. I really don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's I think not great, I think is how I feel about it.
I think that's where I land as well.
Yeah. Anyway, that said, shall we go back to the boys?
Let's go back to the boys and this phenomenal photograph, I hope.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back at Jacques Renault's apartment. The cops are going through it. They are very careful to wear their plastic gloves so they do not get any fingerprints or like DNA material on anything in the apartment. Additionally, they all have donuts and are eating them with their gloves on and fucking slopping these donuts all over.
A lot of attention is called to this. Like, we see 3 different people do it.
Yeah. And like the camera like follows it. Yeah, it's very silly. So also, okay, we'll get to the rest of the thing, but I think we start and Dale Cooper is kind of like looking through Jacques cabinet or something, and on the inside of his cabinet there's this crazy photo that it then immediately pans away from of I guess Jacques and Bernard Renault with so they are both the phrase that I wrote in my notes is just crazy belly suit situation, and they are shirtless and they are wearing like from their pants down a suit with pants under it, and then on their bellies is like drawn, like painted on a face with the belly button as the nose. And I think that like we're this, so making it look as though there's a little guy whose face is their bellies, and there are like 2 or 3 other people with them doing this. So presumably this was some. Oh, and also the guys behind them also have like their above their belly is covered by like a giant oversized hat.
Oh fuck! It's a hat. It looked. Oh my god, that's what it is. I thought it was a garbage can.
It might, honestly, I think it might be a garbage can that's painted to look like a hat. But so I guess one of the things that we now know about the Renault brothers is that they partook of the famous French Canadian tradition, the belly suit guy parade.
Oh my god, what the fuck is this? And dear listener, if you did not catch this on your watch, if you cannot picture this, like, it's funnier than you can imagine. Please Google Renault belly suit.
I'll try to put this in like the show notes or like whatever kind of post we like put this up in or something, but it's just so wild. It's so weird.
It's really funny.
And then they just pan away and then they're like, oh yeah, here's some more clues in this magazine.
What the fuck, man? What the fuck?
Yeah. So most importantly, and I think this was actually the where the shot that I talked about earlier of like the 3 of them lined up is that he has identified, he's like found one of the personals, which is of a young woman in lingerie against some red drapes. And we don't see her face, but he's like, that's Laura Palmer.
And he knows because of his dream, of course.
Yes. And then I do think it does like pan up and show that they have a photograph of a cabin that presumably Jacques Renault owns, which does have red drapes. And so he's like, okay, I think this is partially a, real world evidence clue of he's like, I think that this was taken in that cabin because of the red drapes. And I think it's Laura Palmer, but also this is his dream intuition telling him this. And so like, again, he is just like so happy to identify this. He's like, oh, yay, that's Laura Palmer. He like does not really hover at all on like the disturbing implications of all this. He's just like, yes, clue, yay.
Yeah.
And I think there was like one of the lines in Laura's ad was like, only mature men need apply. And the thing I wrote here is just like, it's hard not to think of Audrey again, you know, in like the has as we just saw her like
Right.
putting herself in like both and obviously like how she is like so into mature man Dale Cooper, but like she keeps her the way that she has been investigating is by putting herself in these situations with these older men. It's funny. There was like I wrote this down, and this isn't really necessarily relevant to this scene. Hope we can't hear the garbage truck outside.
It's pretty loud actually. We might want to give it a sec.
The thing I wrote down in this scene, or the thing I wrote down that like it's not really that relevant to this scene necessarily, but like it is like thinking about like how that like the only mature men need apply like really made me think about Audrey and thinking about Madeline as, you know, fucking played by Laura Palmer's actress showing up. It really feels like there is like the town is like like the town as an entity is like trying to generate another Laura, you know? Like it's like as if Laura would like, you know, played a role in this town. Sorry, I got a sippy. Like Laura played a role in this town that was like, you know, kind of like even what I was saying about how people wanted to be in the dream, and like Laura, everyone keeps saying what Laura meant to them, and like that she was like a dream that they could all just kind of like invest in some way. And it is kind of like a Kid in Omelas style, you know, like the town is just like trying to be like, Audrey, can you be our new Laura? Madeline, can you be our new Laura? Like there's just like this void that it feels like it's trying to fill of like this central young woman that can like be this receptacle of all of the energy of the town, you know?
Totally.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just I was just thinking about that with everything so far. But shall we? Speaking of Maddy, shall we move on?
Yeah. Let's. So this next scene opens on the inside door of the diner. Some random person starts the jukebox, and at that very second, Madeline walks in. She takes a seat at the booth with James and Donna. You know, they offer to get her anything. She gets a cherry Coke, and she says she's very, you know, pleased to be here. She seems to think that this is a social call, and she doesn't really know any of the local teens. Instead, it is revealed that they are asking for help with their weird little investigation. So basically, they need access to Laura's bedroom, and she has access to Laura's bedroom.
Which, like, is that where she's sleeping?
I don't know. I was trying to think about that. Well, she said that she was in Laura's bedroom.
Well, it's also like there's not another place for her to be if she's like staying at the Palmer house, you know? We haven't seen a guest room.
Yeah, I think if we see... Oh, you know what? I don't know if the show has ruled on this, like, or if they're going to.
Yeah.
Because we find out later that she's done the thing in Laura's room, but we don't actually see it happen. I don't think.
If she is, that's crazy. Let's keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, please. Yeah, so basically they try to conscript Madeline into this investigation by saying, you know, we knew Laura better than anyone, and we knew that, what was it? We knew that she was afraid, or we knew she was worried, or something, like basically saying that they in some way saw this coming. Which I don't know if I believe, but that's my business. And I guess Madeline, trying to fit in to this trio, explains her relationship to Laura. She says, you know, I always felt close to her, and our folks were always telling us how alike we were.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Laura that well, but I feel like I do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Woof.
Yeah, I love that I think we both made the exact same connection there of like, well, here, you wrote it down of like she's my cousin, but doesn't she look exactly like Laura Palmer? And I think, in the dream, Dale asks, like, are you Laura Palmer? She says, I feel like I know her, but sometimes my arms bend back.
Yes.
Which still goes crazy as a line.
Oh, I've been thinking about the arms bending back constantly. Like, I'm truly fixated on that image. It's awful.
And I feel like it was one thing to have that say that and then be like, oh, and Laura's arms were bending back. But for her here to say that she's Laura's cousin and that she feels like she knows Laura makes me very scared that her arms are going to bend back. You know what I mean? And like all of the violence that implies,
Ah, fuck, dude. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Bad feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Anyway, the teens quite abruptly leave. And Maddy doesn't so much as touch her cherry Coke.
Mm-hmm. I think like, but
I not particularly. Just I guess to the Coke is what I was going to say.
Yeah. How dare we?
You know what? You go ahead.
Yeah. I think like before we move on to the other half of this, which is again the diner as being like where these like various soap opera plots can like intertwine. Yeah, it was like I think like Donna saying like we knew Laura better than anyone. And like there was like she was in danger, or was he said like she was where is it? I'm looking at the script right now. She was in some kind of terrible trouble before she died, worse than any of us could imagine. But I'm just like, there's so much, and like we've remarked on this, but like it feels like every character claims to be like, I knew the real Laura. Everyone else knew fake Laura that she showed the town, like Donna and James are like, we knew the real Laura. Bobby's like, you have no idea. I knew the real Laura. And then when Bobby's talking to Leo, like Bobby's like, what was Laura into? And Leo's like, maybe I'll tell you one day. Dr. Jacoby is like, those kids were boys. Only I could understand the real Laura. Like everyone.
You're so right.
And like they all contradict each other, and each of them say that like each person's idea of Laura is that she was giving everyone else the same fake image and they got the real image, whereas it really seems like she was giving each person an image of herself specific to them or her relationship with them. And it's like, was there even a monolithic Laura Palmer that everyone seems to say there was, that like it was only what other people had access to? It's like like the monolithic Laura Palmer of just like Laura Palmer in the image as the homecoming queen. It feels like no one ever really actually engaged with that. Like everyone engaged with some hidden facet of Laura that they thought that they feel like they're the only person who saw,
Totally. And I want to say that I really appreciate the sort of fragmented version of her that we get. And I don't know that I will ever be able to put all these pieces together and understand like who Laura was or who she, like how she would have performed in a certain situation. And it feels very respectful is what I keep coming back to. It feels like it's getting at the idea that like, yeah, when a person dies, they're irreplaceable, like you can't, there's nothing that can, you can't simulate Laura Palmer, you can try to describe her true self or you can try to replace her, but she was a full person. She didn't follow any one rule.
Yeah, definitely.
I appreciate that. I think that's true of everyone.
Yeah. And then like my other note here is like, even before Maddy is like I feel like I know Laura, is that her line is, I always felt close to her. I didn't know Laura that well, but I feel like I do. Such a strange, like, she's like, I didn't know her, but I did, but I feel like I do. But I always was close to her, but I didn't know her. I get so many, like, I really was thinking like last time, like, I feel like so much of what we get about Laura is all these contradicting statements that are each declared with equal confidence. And you know, like all these people are saying like, I knew the real Laura, not the fake Laura. And the sense that I get isn't that, you know, one of these people was getting a fake version of Laura. Is just that like Laura was equally all these true things to all these people in these ways that were contradicting, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. Anywho, yeah. So shall we move on to the other part of this scene?
Yeah. Scene 9.5.
Yeah, my note is just domino, dolly, zoom, pan.
Fuck. Yeah, man. So the teens leave the diner, and we see that sitting right behind them was Domino Dude. What the fuck is his
Hank
name?
Jennings.
Hank Jennings. Norma's recently released from prison husband. And he's been listening to this whole thing, and we know from the previous episode, or at least have a feeling that he is involved in criminal doings and might have had some connection to Laura's death. The fact that, well, I guess none of them would suspect him, and also none of them maybe even really know him that well, so they were just like fine saying all this right next to him. But he is, suspiciously playing with his domino.
Well,
and then
I feel like it is very like the kind of TV logic of like when you're in your diner booth, no one outside of your booth can hear you. You know, you're just like in your own scene type thing. You know.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, so he's there.
And then Norma and Shelley walk in. They've just gotten a makeover together. And what's the line? Shelley says something like, "We look like refugee beauty queens."
Yes. Yeah.
What the fuck? What are you saying?
It's so, yeah, I don't understand if this is supposed to mean like they were at the beauty queen off and they refuged from there to here, or that they are beauty queens who were, it's strange. I don't know. I don't know what the refugee is doing there.
No, super. Yeah, kind of inscrutable to me. Anyway, they both see Hank there. It doesn't seem like they were expecting him, and Shelley just kind of walks away and watches from the back because she doesn't really have a good feeling about this guy.
Well, he like grabs Norma's arm, you know?
Yeah. So Hank says basically to his wife, you know, I don't expect a kiss, but I do want to earn my way back into your heart. How can I do that? And she says, wash some dishes. And he goes, I'm going to finish my coffee first, boss, or whatever. He's kind of very condescending, to be honest.
He's like trying to be jokey, you know? He's like, haha, we have jokes, you know?
But in a way that is like slightly belittling her, was my feeling.
Yeah, and it's like, my big note here is like, his demeanor is really right in between threatening and like, haha, I'm niceys, you know? Like he grabs her arm, then he's like, come on, boss, I'll finish my coffee first, man.
Yeah, like he's telling her that she has the power, but he seems to, like, I doubt he's going to respect that, you know, this new like employer-employee relationship of theirs.
Yeah. Sorry, also, I love your note of just evil domino man that looks into camera with the INTJ stare. We could not leave that one in the notes.
Oh my god, I didn't even see that. Thank you so much for calling that out. Oh yeah, okay, then we cut to Shelley sort of semi-watching them from the back, but semi-watching Invitation to Love on TV. Or I guess maybe the preview of tomorrow's Invitation to Love?
I don't know.
And you say here that Montana beats up Chet as Jared watches. I'm going to level with you. I don't know who any of these people are, and I don't think
I remember Chet, because Chet's the one who had the crazy face, right? Who like Jade was trying to seduce him, and he had a crazy fucking face. Hold on, Chet.
Yeah, refresh me here.
Let me fucking find this guy. You know that I looked up Chet Invitation to Love, and it gave me exactly the crazy face that I wanted. I'm just gonna put this in general right now. And like, and in fact, and here is the shot of him having a crazy face while either Jade or Emerald tries to seduce him.
Oh Oh my God, that's funny.
It's really
okay. Thank you.
So he's getting beaten up by Montana, who is the bad guy. He's the guy who was like, I wasn't up the Amazon for my health, you know? And I guess, yeah, it's funny. These notes, I will like take them from the wiki to just like have a reminder thing up top of like what was in the scene. I think Jared was like the dad who was like, we saw he was like writing his will. I guess he owns the towers in Invitation to Love because he was like going to kill himself. And like that was the scene where Madeline showed up. And then like in the TV show, they were like, I know you're in there, daddy, you know?
Right. I think Invitation to Love is going to be one of those things that I understand by reading the wiki, like when we're done the show.
No, definitely. I think it's also like I'm only able to remember this many details about it because I've already seen Twin Peaks and I'm not trying to remember the details of everything in Twin Peaks, you know?
That helps.
But yeah, I do remember the lines here, which is just that fucking Montana is beating up Chet and says, "You're done, Chester, you little Fruit Loop." It's just so funny.
Oh my God. That's so funny. And he gives him like an open-handed slap, which has parallels to later.
Oh, wait, to Leo later?
No, there's just a very pointed triple slap later. And I don't know that it actually literally has any.
Wait, when's the triple slap?
That is Ben Horn is on the receiving end, and it's what Catherine is slapping him.
Okay, well, we're on fucking slap watch.
Slap watch.
That's so funny. Anyway, so shall we move on? I see you wanted to take the fucking Jacoby therapy session.
I did, if only to call out that this fit in this episode is fucking Disco Elysium.
It was really Disco Elysium. I took a screenshot of it just to try to capture. I wish we had a shot of Jacoby's back because it says there's something written on the back of his shirt, but I can't tell what it is. But anyway, take us away. Tell us about this crazy therapy session.
Okay, yes. So this is a family therapy session, possibly the first, certainly an early therapy session between Bobby's family and Dr. Jacoby. They're sort of struggling to.
Although I was saying Jacoby earlier also.
Oh, no, you're totally right. Thank you. Dr. Jacoby. I'm used to that being spelled like the Italian way. Anyway, because I am Italian by marriage, as you know. Of course. So yeah, they're kind of struggling to connect with Bobby. So Jacoby is asking, like, Bobby, have you been using drugs? And he says no. But then his parents chime in to say that he's drinking. Bobby goes, that's not drugs. Everyone does that. They talk about killing people, and Bobby says that his dad has killed people, but his parents say that's different because that was war.
Well, I think it's Bobby who brings it up. He's like, have you ever killed anyone?
Oh.
Yeah.
Just
kind of wild.
Oh, weird. Yeah. So the vibe I get from these first two things is basically that he has like a reasonable distrust of social customs, like, you know, what is drugs, what is not, what murder is acceptable, what is not. This is not even that connected to the rest of the scene. Basically, they're getting a little frustrated, and they get Bobby's parents to leave the room so they Jacoby and Bobby can do a little bit of one-on-one therapizing. Before
we get into the one-on-one, I think we also just need to talk about like the vibe, because one, it opens and it's like the parents, fucking Garland Briggs, and I forget the wife's name because she's not on the show that much, but you know, they are like kind of ping-ponging between each other of just being like, he's been spending more time alone in his room. It's become much more difficult to engage him in conversation, whatever. And it's like like the camera is like ping pong, like fucking like tennis fucking challengers between them as they are like rattling these off. And like when we see Jacoby, he's like lying back in like a chair that you can like lean back in with his like hands behind his head, like he's just like completely like he is how you would expect a therapist patient to be sitting classically. And then we see his outfit. And so do you want to try to describe the outfit or should I? There's a lot of pieces.
Yeah. Okay. So he is wearing a long sleeve, like maroon shirt, maybe a sweater, with a tan colored short sleeve button down over top.
Yeah.
He's wearing an illustrated tie that looks to me like a Bosch painting or something. Like
God,
it's
is this like weird, like medieval
yeah.
scene?
It's fucking strange. And then he is wearing his signature fantastic red and blue enormous glasses.
Yeah.
Which own so hard.
Sorry, also the screenshot that I took is blurry, but can you see his fucking like watch or bracelet or whatever it is? It's like it's like I'm like fucking zooming in on the picture that I took. It's like
me too, literally.
It's got this like bright blue interior, and it's unclear if that is actually a watch or if it's just like this weird ostentatious bracelet. But if it's a watch, it has a lot of accoutrements around it. It's very this guy.
It looks like a gadget from Spy Kids.
Also, we said he's wearing a tie, and like the way that this is that he has his like kind of like orange maroon kind of like sweater long neck, and then a button down over it unbuttoned, and the tie is just like there's no collar, like because it's unbuttoned.
The tie is
just around his neck, normal style, over this like maroon undershirt. It's fuck it. This guy's never worn a normal outfit in his life.
That's so funny, dude. Anyway, we better actually get into the meat of this because what a scene, dear God.
Well, actually, sorry, one other thing of actually hold on. Let me make sure that I'm not let me make sure, because I know that we've been I know that there's a thing that's true, but I want to make sure if it has been said yet or if I just know it historically.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I am going to okay. So in the pilot, if you recall, when Donna and James were talking about like the like Laura, what all the stuff she was saying before she ran off, you know? She was saying like there are things she got pulled into, things she thought you'd hate her for. She said there are things about me Donna doesn't even know about me, and she said something about a guy getting killed. Bobby killed this guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull up the actual sorry, there's like scripts of these that are on like lynchnet.com, but I had looked up another one that just like was somehow brought me to like fucking scriptslug.com, which is a crazy
oh yeah.
But anyway, so I think we have had a mention of Bobby potentially, per Laura in her moment, like killing someone. So that's something to note. When Bobby is like, hey, have you ever killed anyone?
Right, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway. Wanna just made a note of that. So should we move on to I think the real meat of this scene is the parents leave and we have a one-on-one Jacoby Bobby session.
Yes, indeed.
Also, to be clear, I'm not saying that I know that Bobby killed someone, but I know that they talk about it as potentially having happened. And I didn't know if that had been said yet or not. So don't get any ideas, Lily.
No, I don't have any ideas because I actually think that didn't happen.
Interesting.
I don't know why. I feel like we see in his scene with Shelley at her house, like, I don't think he's actually capable of that.
All right.
I don't see the situation where he kills someone and like he lives to tell the tale.
Okay. Well, okay. Anyway, tell us about tell us about this crazy therapy session.
Yeah. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, the very first question Jacoby asks Bobby is, when you made love with Laura for the first time, did you cry?
Yeah, it's a
Nuts.
lot. I think, first he says, like, do you feel your parents don't understand what you're going through? And Bobby's like, that's a good one. He's like, let's talk about Laura. What happened the first time you and Laura made love? Did you cry? Is crazy.
Yeah, holy shit. So presumably he is using information he got through knowing Laura or being Laura's like caregiver.
Yeah. Which is horrible.
Horrible, obviously like enormous ethics breach, but
well, and it's like, given that he has said, like, he felt he was sleeping with Laura, and he's like, oh, those were just boys. Like, it feels like he is trying to tear him down. Like, he's fucking beefing with this 17, 18-year-old of like, I'm establishing dominance over you by like about Laura, it feels like,
I could totally see that. And I don't think Bobby realizes that's what's happening.
Yeah.
He's clearly doing this for his own ends and not like for the good of his patient.
I also want to note, when he says like, did you cry? He then is instantly like, what did Laura do then? Did she laugh at you?
Oh my God.
Like, yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, that's just awful. So from this point, you would kind of expect Bobby, knowing him, to get defensive, but no, his defenses are totally down, and it makes him like trust Jacoby almost.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point,
honestly, can I just like read through the lines here, because I have the script open, and it's really it's wild.
Please do. This is an excellent scene.
And actually, before I do, the other thing I note is like, just on outfits, is like Bobby's shirt looks almost priestly. It has like this like white thing around the collar, and it makes it look like a priest getup, kind of.
Oh, and we know this is like a Catholic family, right?
Yeah, but anyway, okay, so
interesting.
So yeah, did she laugh at you, Jacoby? Were you sad when Laura died? Laura wanted to die. Honestly, I might just like want to just watch this scene, and I can like edit it into the podcast.
Totally.
Okay, here, let me pull it up here.
Let's talk about Laura.
Okay, let's talk about Laura.
Bobby, what happened the first time that you and Laura made love?
What the hell kind of question is that?
Bobby, did you cry?
Did I what?
And then what did Laura do? Did she laugh at you? Were you very sad when Laura died?
Laura wanted to die.
How do you know that?
Because she told me.
What else did she tell you? Did she tell you there was no goodness in the world?
She said people tried to be good, but they were really sick and rotten, her most of all. And every time she tried to make the world a better place, something terrible came up inside her and pulled her back down into hell. It took her deeper and deeper into the blackest nightmare. And every time it got harder to go back up to the light.
Did you sometimes have the feeling that Laura was harboring some awful secret?
Yeah.
Bad enough that she wanted to die because of it?
Yes.
Bad enough that it drove her to consciously try to find people's weaknesses and prey on them, tempt them, break them down, make them do terrible, degrading things?
Yes.
Laura wanted to corrupt people because that's how she felt about herself.
Yes.
Is that what happened to you, Bobby? Is that what Laura did to you?
She wanted so much. She made me sell drugs so she could help.
That's crazy. That scene is so much.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Okay, so first off, before we get into anything serious, that does confirm that it is just a crazy weird bangle he has on his wrist. But yeah, there's a lot here. God, it's funny. So this starts with like Laura wanted to die, she told me. That there was no goodness in the world. People tried to be good, but they were sick and rotten, her most of all. And the harder she tried, it didn't mean anything, because every time she tried to help the world be a better place, something terrible came up inside her and pulled her back down into hell. There's a lot. And
Holy shit.
I don't know. It's like, one, again, it was like, if this is something that we're learning about Laura, it's all filtered through these people, but like, it's, you know, even if Jacoby is being a shithead here and pursuing his own interests in a couple ways, which I think we can get into.
Yeah.
Like it is also a therapy session. Like it does, like Bobby does get into this stuff about Laura that he was not thinking about before, right? In the sense, like if Laura told him this stuff, like when the way that Bobby talked about Laura before now, right? Was like she was wild, but like, you know, she was wild, she wanted drugs, but he doesn't seem able to, and like obviously he's like upset, he's like, you know, the town, like we killed Laura, but you know, he's also like, oh, how could Laura die and leave us with this fucking drug debt or whatever.
Right.
But like this, it's, you know, like it does, like in terms of the like, I don't know, like narrative role of a therapy session, like it does get him to open up and like access this stuff that he's, you know, been holding back, right?
It's true. It works. I mean, he cries. Yeah. That's interesting.
But I mean, I guess before we like really get into, I think some of Jacoby's motivation, what do you think of this, like this paragraph of like what Bobby said, like Laura was saying about like she wanted to die because there was no goodness in the world. Oh god, it's kind of crazy because Jacoby is like, did she tell you there was no goodness in the world? So presumably this is something you know, that she has also discussed with Jacoby. But yeah, what do you think about this? Like, you know, Laura would be pulled back into hell, took her deeper and deeper into the blackest nightmare, etc.
I mean, to be honest, obviously this hints at and solidifies this idea of Laura like being the embodiment of the light side of the town and the dark side of the town. So it's not just that she was surface level nice, but secretly into drugs. It's that she was totally fighting and trying to be good. But as of now, there's so much missing for me from Laura's backstory that I don't understand, like, what this hell she kept being dragged into was. Maybe addiction. I don't know. I still don't understand why she was so troubled, I guess. So this leaves me with more questions than answers.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that is what Jacoby is trying to uncover here. Yeah, no, I mean, because I think it's also like, you know, I think what really hits about this for me is that we've been hearing a lot about, you know, what Laura means to the town and what she kind of symbolizes both to the characters who are using her as a symbol and also like for the show as like a symbol for Twin Peaks. But this, I think, really gets to like Laura as a person was suffering and was having some like individual shit going on, you know, like outside of kind of like, you know, just being representing the good and evil of Twin Peaks, that like she was trying to be good and trying to make the world good, but that something was dragging her into a hell, and it took her deeper and deeper into the blackest nightmare. And I think that is really like, you know, when we say about who killed Laura Palmer, I think the mystery is like what was going on in Laura Palmer's life that she was feeling like this. And like, yeah, like you're saying, like, you know, her being troubled, like what was creating a hell for Laura Palmer that either no one knew about, or some things were kept secret, or that like, you know, maybe the people who knew, like everyone knew one part of it, but not the whole, or like it's, you know, like there's, I don't know. I think what really is effective about this is that like it is legible as this like strictly symbolic thing, but it was really just fucking like individually emotionally resonant, you know? It's fucking rough.
Yeah, my goodness.
Yeah. And so, I mean, yeah, like speaking of, you know, like what is at the core of this, I think the note that I made is like Jacoby is also trying to investigate. And it's funny, I pulled up the script, and the like little like direction thing for him is like on the case when he says, "Did you sometimes have the feeling that Laura was harboring some awful secret? Bad enough that she wanted to die because of it."
The what was on?
It just says on the case.
Oh.
Like this is his kind of like stage direction for this, you know?
Oh man.
And it is like he's trying to investigate. Like well, yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you think about Jacoby here.
Sure. So his speaking about Laura as a manipulator, and specifically a person who corrupts other people, makes me think that he is looking for absolution. Like he is looking to validate his theory that actually it was Laura who manipulated him, you know, the young seductress.
Yes. Yeah. Laura wanted to corrupt people because he feels like he's corrupted himself by sleeping with this teenager.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, absolutely. And it seems in many ways like Jacoby and Bobby are on the same page in this scene, and they're like they're agreeing. Actually, Bobby is talking about how Laura was fighting corruption, that she was like trying to resist being corrupted. And Jacoby is describing her as that like nightmarishly dark force, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And God, also, I gotta say, if we ever watch Utena one day, this scene makes me think of Auntie from Utena. That's all I'll say. But I think, yeah, I know it is really interesting because, like, you know, when Bobby is hearing, like, you know, Laura wanted to consciously is a very, I think, pointed word for Jacoby to use here. Try to find people's weaknesses and prey on them, tempt them, break them down, make them do terrible, degrading things. Yeah. You know, Jacoby saying this of being like, oh, like this is so classic, like guy who sleeps with teenager is like, oh, I was weak, but also she preyed on my weakness. She made me do this. She broke me down. I couldn't resist. I was made to do these degrading things. You know, it was degrading to me because I was brought there. But then, like, you know, Bobby is like, yes. But him, you know, he says, like, she wanted so much. She made me sell drugs so she could have them. Which also, allegedly, she was also getting drugs from Jacoby last episode, we think. So, I don't know. A lot going on there. Yeah. But I think it's like, you know, say what you will about Bobby feeling what, you know, like however Bobby feels about that. But I think there's a very difference between like, I'm going to get my boyfriend to sell drugs so that I can have them. Like, that's a very different way of saying, like, Bobby hearing that and being like, she found my weakness. She preyed on it, tempted me, made me do terrible, degrading things. That's very different if it's like, I really want drugs. I'm going to get my boyfriend to sell drugs so that I can take them also. maybe bought like, and again, I'm not here to pass, it should be obvious I'm not judging Laura Palmer for this, but like that, I think that's very, like, if you're Bobby and you're like, oh, I was weak and Laura exploited that to get something from me. I think that's a very different way of thinking about finding someone's weakness versus like, I was her therapist and like slept with her.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I agree. I think
and
Bobby has maybe a more legitimate claim to being harmed.
And I think like, at least like societally speaking, like who knows if interpersonally what amount of like leverage Laura did or didn't, wield on Dr. Jacoby. But like, I think Laura's capacity to like, quote unquote, make Bobby do a thing and like exert leverage on him, if that is what was happening, is I think obviously much more than like the adult man who is her therapist, who she's quote unquote making sleep with her,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's really like it feels like Jacoby here wants either one to be like, what do you know about Laura's secret that I was unable to penetrate, as he said last episode?
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it.
Because he wants to investigate, and he is like sculpting the argument that will like exculpate himself of being like, isn't it true that she, it is really, we've like gone over it, but it is fucking crazy to be like, yeah, she consciously found the weakness, preyed on them, made them, wanted to corrupt people. It's a lot. And I don't know, there is really, and again, in the way that I'm like, all this is like, this guy fucking sucks.
Yes.
Fuck kind of both of these guys, obviously, right? But there is really like them both saying that they both perceived Laura, who wanted to corrupt people because that's how she felt about herself. I think that, along with like everything from before, really, I don't know, there's an image of Laura that we can get from that who is, that is not, again, none of us are interested in hashtag canceling Laura Palmer, but I think like a Laura Palmer who's struggling with shit and is like, I keep getting dragged into hell. I feel horrible. I want to corrupt other people so they can be here with me is really compelling,
Man.
Yeah, it's a lot. And we kind of like fade out with like the theme soaring as we see this bird soar into the sky.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, my last note on this is that this is in the script as Bobby breaks down. Jacoby offers him his bowl of malted milk balls that he was snacking on. He's like, malted milk ball? And then Bobby shakes his head. Jacoby pops one into his mouth and chews, thinking. So they decided not to go with that and to go with the bird cut in fade instead.
I think I appreciate that. That's really funny.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. So the police department and Dale are walking through the woods, sort of looking for Jacques Renault's cabin. Hawk kind of guides them by looking at the way a tree branch is pointing and then like going that way.
Like, I think it's like the implication that it's been like snapped by someone walking through, but it's so silly.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking that this is his like indigenous, like,
I mean, to be honest, I think it is doing that. It's like he's the tracker. He sees that someone has passed through and stepped on this little sapling branch, and I'm like, guys, come on. It's just silly. It's like this. Whatever.
Yeah.
The show will continue to be like this about Hawk, and I don't love it.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, it leads them to the cabin of not Jacques, but the log lady. They're all like around the perimeter, guns out, and then she just comes and says like, something like, took you long enough, or something like she's just like, you're late. She invites them in. She offers them tea and cookies, but not coffee. Dale starts to say like, well, thank you, ma'am, but we don't need, presumably, like, to ask you any questions. But then Hawk interrupts and goes, what cookies? As if that's like the deciding factor, and what he was taking issue with is the cookies. Anyway.
I just want to shout out also, as they're like going up, Doc Hayward is with them and has a big stick, like his walking stick or something. And I just love that he, like a kid in the woods, just found a big stick to walk with.
It's like a real simple joy in life. Anyway, so they sit down at the table and they've got their tea and cookies, and we finally get to hear what the log has to say on all this.
And like, there are so many good lines in this that I do just want to highlight before we go full log mode.
Go for it.
Like, I think when they show up, she's like, about time you got here. They move so slowly when they're not afraid. And she's like, yeah, I have tea. Don't worry, the owls won't see us in here. Shut your eyes and you will burst into flames, which is that's a big one.
That goes so hard. Oh my God. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Things to think about there. She talks
saying like
all the time, like she's narrating the log lady segment. Like, I thought that was just I thought she was like a sort of random pick for that, but no, she just like speaks in verse almost, or in riddles.
Well, yeah, she's just like issuing prophecies.
Yeah, fucking awesome.
I'm really gonna, I don't know, shut your eyes and you'll burst into flames feels important.
Oh yeah.
I'm earmarking that.
What is that like a
is this
response to? Why does she say that? Do you remember?
Let's see. Basically just like, I think, Cooper's like, oh, we don't have time. And Hawk is like, hey, come on. What kind of cookies? She says, sugar, the owls won't see us in here. Hayward is like, some tea would be very nice. And then she's like annoyingly annoyed to like Truman and Cooper, I guess, for maybe not wanting to sit down with her. Like, shut your eyes and you'll burst into flames. Keep your eyes open, be investigating, whatever, but great fucking line.
Great line.
And I love, she's like, we'll let the tea steep. Cooper reaches for a cookie and she's like, wait for the tea. The fish aren't running.
Yeah, she like slaps his hand. What the fuck is the fish aren't running?
It's so, I mean, obviously I think of the percolator.
Yes, that is the first thing that came to mind, but I don't understand
what
like the running means.
I mean, it feels like some kind of like this would be some kind of like folk saying for like, we have time, the fish aren't running. But that's the thing, there's so many of these things that she's saying that is like, this sounds like this could be like a regional saying, Shut your eyes and you'll burst into flames. Oh, come on, the fish aren't running. Or are they like prophecies being uttered,
Yeah.
And then I love, like, they ask, like, were you expecting us? And she says, you're 2 days late. It's really good.
Yeah, like they never made a plan to meet. And she'd previously said that the log wasn't ready yet. So I guess they should have just known via vision or something.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not sure how much I retained from the actual, like, I think she speaks poetically that I'm having trouble recalling what the takeaways are.
Yeah. So, like, she pours the tea and, like, it feels like, dude, this is some kind of, like, ritual. Almost to, the owls can't see you in here. Like, this is going to ward them off. Oh, this reminds me. I think I didn't talk about it last episode, or I meant to, but I didn't. There's that great fucking shot of Donna and James when they're in the woods, and then the owl saw them when we got the, like, owl POV, like, zooming out from them was so cool. But yeah, so she's like, the owls won't see us here. The tea feels like a ritual almost as a part of this. And she just says, my husband was a logging man. He met the devil. The devil took the form of fire. Fire is the devil hiding like a coward in the smoke.
Fucking let's go.
Yeah, it's a lot. And Doc Hayward is just like, it was the day after the wedding, wasn't it, Margaret? A lot going on. And then just Hawk to her is like, the wood holds many spirits, doesn't it, Margaret? Again, they're really having Hawk be like, okay, buddy, tell us about spirits.
Yeah.
But okay, so a note that I made is just, the devil is real. It's very like,
oh my God.
I don't know. It's very, I don't know. on the Hunter x Hunter podcast, they're talking about how like at one point there's this woman who's saying that there was like a piece of music that, you know, the legend said was like written by the devil himself, and it like fucked her up when she tried to perform it or whatever. And like that's a show in which people are like using their aura to summon fucking monsters and shit. It's just very funny. And similarly here to be like, oh yeah, and also the devil.
Yeah, like a really specific guy.
Well, and that Dr. Hayward is like, yeah, it was the day after the wedding. And I don't know. I'm intrigued. Like, does this mean he died? She does seem to be widowed. That's a reasonable thing. But I also thought of like Leo Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way Shelley says, like, as soon as they got married, he, you know, kind of met the devil and that he became a devilish one. That was the fucking from the Fire Walk With Me speech. Like, I too have seen the devilish one or whatever, you know?
Dude, that's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and like fire is the devil hiding like a coward in the smoke is kind of crazy. But yeah, so they talk about that. I love like earlier Dale was like dismissive, and I'm like, okay, first of all, you have your fucking Tibetan techniques. Let this lady tell you about the log spirits, but he seems kind of into it now, you know. And she says, you know, you can ask it now, and he says, what did you see that night? The night Laura Palmer was killed. And the log lady, as if she's like reassuring the log, she's like, shh, let me do the talking. And you know what? Here, I could cut this one in and screen share it also if you want.
Sure.
How do we feel about that?
Yeah, great.
All right, let's do that.
Dark. Laughing. The owls were flying. Many things were blocked. Laughing. 2 men, 2 girls. Flashlights passed by in the woods over the ridge. The owls were near. The dark was pressing in on her. Quiet then. Later, footsteps. 1 man passed by. Screams. Far away. Terrible. Terrible. 1 voice.
Man or girl?
Girl. Further up, over the ridge. The owls were silent.
I have a lot to say about this.
Yeah. Do you wanna go first?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so this fantastic scene is what is building my theory of the log. We keep talking about how there's something mystical about the forest. It is maybe this forest that we don't totally understand. So the log's role is to be like the eyes of the forest. It is the representative of the forest. Like we've heard the people's take on all this, but now this is the take of the place itself, right? This is just Shivers from Disco Elysium. So, and this connects very strongly to a shot we see soon. So I'm just going to mention it to sort of build out this theory. We see a shot that starts on a raven's eye, zoomed in all the way. It's filling like the whole frame, and then gradually pulling out. So to me, this is the idea that the place itself is watching, and that there's, even with a dearth of eyewitnesses that we're speaking to, that the place itself remembers and records, you know? So I pulled a little quote that I wanted to reference here. This is from a video that Jacob Geller just put out. It'll be a couple months old by the time this episode comes out, but he's quoting Charles Babbage, who's like the father of modern computing. I don't have the whole thing verbatim, but so he says, but if the air we breathe is the never-failing historian of the sentiments we have uttered, earth, air, and ocean are the eternal witnesses of the acts we have done. No motion impressed by natural causes or by human agency is ever obliterated. And then Babbage goes on to talk about how this means that if an injustice happens, that no like accountability is ever ever takes place for, the earth itself remembers and like bears witness. And there's this idea that the Jacob Geller himself doesn't totally get on board with, but this idea with earth as a witness, that is some sort of, that can sort of ease our feelings of injustice, that like it is, you know, being recognized even if it doesn't exist socially. I feel like that is the role of the log. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Cool. That's my piece, and I would love to hear what you think.
Yeah, I mean, watching it again now, I was, when it says like the dark was pressing in on her, that really feels reminiscent of Bobby saying like what Laura was, how Laura felt earlier about like being pulled back into the dark. Otherwise, I mean, like if we're taking this as like, you know, hashtag clues, you know, we know there were 2 men, 2 girls, but then that there was a third man, and that there was like one girl screaming. Yeah. I think the introduction of a third man. So like, I think it's easy to say the 2 men could have been the Renault brothers.
Yeah.
But that there was a third man. And they talk about that later. I made a note. I mean, I feel like this, I know that the third man is like a like famous old like 40s movies with Orson Welles.
Oh, I was thinking the record label. Okay.
That's funny. Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that is part of the reference, like, you know, at least this particular phrasing is, you know, is a bit of a reference to that. But yeah, so there are some clues here, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, I don't really have explicit takeaways. It is also just kind of washing over me, but yeah. It's grim. It is interesting that we keep getting this about owls and about wood and about fire. The owls were silent. As like she died, you know, it's really, yeah, it's a lot. It's a really great scene. I almost like, I don't even really have further like analysis of it.
Sure.
It is very, I really like Log Lady, and I really like this.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love to say,
I love your take on it. Yeah, go ahead.
One last quick thing on that take is the owls were silent. That is just like kind of a beautiful and solemn thing, and kind of makes me think about the Willie Carlisle song Two-Headed Lamb, I think it is, which is about sort of when a creature dies, the way that other animals will sort of bow their heads down in respect. And it feels like maybe that is what the owls are doing, or maybe they're just listening closely. Sort of.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, she's like, the owls can't see us in here. Like, I think whether or not the owls are antagonism is or antagonistic.
Yeah.
I don't know. Feels uncertain in a very interesting way.
That is a question I totally have.
Yeah.
Sorry. One last thing I have on this, like the idea of like the place itself watching, is a couple prominently featured artworks. So in Dr. Jacoby's office, the walls are covered in these enormous masks.
Yeah.
And then
in
in Jacques' kitchen, there's that super hideous clown painting. And it just feels like surveillance to be kind of emerged as a theme of this episode.
Yes. Yeah. I really like that.
Woo.
I think let's keep an eye on that, you know?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So, they then leave that cabin and wander off, or watching it is kind of like they just stumble onto the other cabin, but I guess they're just cabin hunting. Yeah. Also, it's funny, they were kind of surprised, but when they came up that this was the Log Lady's cabin, does this mean that Doc Hayward and like Hawk never come visit her at her cabin? They didn't know it was hers. It's a bit. Anyway, but so they find this other cabin, and what do you know? It is the one from the photograph. They go inside, and this place has, many things that indicate that at least some of the crimes done to Laura happened here. So there is because they can hear the music at first, which is like Into the Night, which I believe is just the Julie Cruz song, which I think we've heard. Yeah, it is Julie Cruz.
We've heard it before. I honestly didn't feel
no, we
familiar.
haven't. This is this is all new. This is all new.
Mm-hmm. Great,
which is really
song.
interesting, actually. Given how much the show loves to have like 5 themes and rotate through them, having this new one here really stands out.
That's very true.
But Julie Cruz has sung, like, when we got the vocal version of like the Laura's theme that played at one point in the pilot when she was singing in the Roadhouse. This is the same singer.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that is playing, and there's this kind of like skipping like record skipping sound as it like resets that this is my like podcaster's like prerogative of I've seen the show and I just get to sometimes say shit to Lily. I'm just gonna say like of all the things that are clues here, the one that made me go fuck the most was actually the record skipping sound.
Oh, really?
And we'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that in the same way that I accidentally showed you the floating head in space, you know? I just love to give you a little morsel that I know will mean as little as possible to you.
No,
right
it's
now.
absolutely nothing to me right now. So
yeah.
That's so intriguing.
Yeah, and it like kind of resets and plays itself from the beginning. And this is, of course, Cooper's like, oh, there's music in the air. They find Waldo, the bird, in the cage. And like in this cabin, they're like the red drapes are covering all the windows in a way that really does feel very reminiscent of the dream, the Red Room from Cooper's dream.
Very much so.
Which again seems to imply that his dream is like pointing him towards here.
Mm-hmm.
And there are also, there's like twine on the floor. There's a blood stain on the floor. Oh, and I think there's like we saw the bird, the raven, like earlier as it was flying. It's kind of been following them almost as they go from cabin to cabin. Really does make like the birds watching. I think like what you're saying about the place surveilling feels very, very like in how the birds are kind of going along with them.
Yeah.
But speaking of, there is a cuckoo clock that would make one think that there is also a bird, but no, instead a poker chip comes out of it, and seems to be the poker chip of that there's like missing a piece, so that seems to be the piece that was found in Laura's stomach.
Fuck.
Yeah, I thought that was like, oh, and there's also a camera that has film in it. So I think Hawk is like, there's film here, but they have, we'll find out, I guess, what was being photographed with it, but we don't in this episode. Mm-hmm. I love how throughout this whole scene, there's like this ominous faint, like wind sound effect that we weren't even really hearing outside, but now that we're in, we're getting it behind everything.
Interesting.
And I really love that there's like the cuckoo being the bird that like gives its false egg to another nest,
Oh my God.
Right? Yeah, but that like instead of the cuckoo clock, like it's had that done to itself, because instead of the cuckoo, there's just poker chips. And like a false cuckoo egg. I don't know, things to think about in terms of like having, I mean, the poker chip is money, it's capital, it's like One-Eyed Jack's, that this has like supplanted what would be the bird there in some way.
Sure.
Hello, cricket. Yeah, I don't know. This is very hashtag clues and very like, oh, once again, the dream is being reflected. But do you have, what do you think about all this?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying, gotcha. What do I think of all this? Well, I like, honestly, until I saw in these notes that like, yeah, this is definitely where some of the crimes happened. That somehow did not occur to me. Like I was kind of thinking this is his sex shack, and like this is where that photo of Laura was, as of now, I think consensually taken.
Yes. Yeah.
I
mean, it could be. I don't know. Like, it's true. I mean, I think the twine sure tells it. I mean, but I think I don't know. I'm saying that because that's me, but I don't think that is a definitive reading. You know?
Sure. Well, the twine it feels like, and the bird both feel like a pretty strong indicator.
But are you saying you think that maybe like Laura was here? It was like not necessarily violence was being done, but that there was like it was carousing in some capacity. I don't know. What do you think?
I think she was habitually here. I think this is a place she came many times, and maybe violence only happened the last time. Maybe it happened throughout. Just judging by the fact of the picture in the magazine.
Yeah.
I don't know what she was doing there. Like, I really don't understand what she and Ronnette, like, what their involvement with this place could be. I don't understand.
Well, and I think that on that front, like, we know that Laura wanted cocaine. It's unclear, I think, at this juncture, whether she was like, I want to sleep with older men. I want to be in flesh world. As like, you know, like as a like, come hook up with me, or if this was some kind of sex work situation where like this was being funneled through Jacques Renault, and this was like reaching clients through flesh world. Do you feel one way or another about that?
I mean, honestly, my inclination was that she was simply trying to hook up, just in the sense that I didn't get like those personals in the magazine seemed like it was just like just people looking.
I mean,
for,
I think
like,
the thing
earnest,
that I think it
casual encounters.
We know that Ronnette worked at the perfume counter, and the perfume counter was soliciting women to go work at One-Eyed Jack's as a like you know, as a brothel, the brothel part of the brothel casino, One-Eyed Jack's, you know, which these guys are connected with, and they have the poker chip, you know?
Right. So like, that's very true, but like, I don't think the magazine ads were trying to funnel customers into One-Eyed Jack's. You know, it strikes me as a separate thing. So I wonder if these guys are all involved in One-Eyed Jack's, why would there be this secondary thing, secondary operation? So honestly, as of now, I'm really confused. I mean, there's clearly some sort of systematic thing happening, considering it was both her and Ronnette who were restrained, and her and Ronnette are both in the magazine, and like, so I can't, like, my gut tells me one thing, but logically I know this must have been some sort of some sort of working situation.
I don't know. Who could say?
I don't know.
Can you imagine? I'm just like, okay, here we go.
You could tell me. Here's who killed Laura Palmer.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's funny. I think I almost have less to say about these scenes because I'm like, oh yeah, these are these are clues. And I think it's also that like this is still the kind of investigating, like compared to Jacoby's investigating in that scene. Laura as a person is still very. This is about what happened to Laura. Laura's like motivations are not at all clarified by these things that we learn, you know?
Yes.
But yeah, shall we move on? I don't know. Do you want to lock in any like thoughts on what you think happened this night in this place? All right. So
I don't think I do. I don't think I'm ready. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so moving on. We are at the Great Northern. First thing we get is a weird shot of Josie in Ben's office, smoking, looking epic. My note was just looking epic, aren't we, Josie?
She's so cool.
And yeah, the we're having a gala for the Icelanders. Fucking Jerry is on fucking Heba watch. Oh yeah, and it's in the timber room. I made a note of this because of the smoke room. I don't know. Interesting.
Because it's going down like the song.
Oh my god, it's going down. Like, this is so funny. I love Heba calls Jerry Yeri, as he is viciously flirting with her. Leland is having a bad time. He keeps like rubbing his head, like as if his head is like has a headache type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I made a note of what Jerry says. He's like, Heba, did you realize the incredible potential that could result from our taking a mutual dip into each other's respective gene pools? Crazy thing to say.
He's so bold. He wants to be pregnant.
Yeah, literally. We finally learned the punchline of the "what do you say when you cross a Norwegian with a Swede" joke that Ben Horn humorously laughed at on the phone last time, which is of course a socialist who wants to be king.
Underwhelming.
So funny. Catherine comes up to Ben telling this and pours her champagne on his shoes. He's like, excuse me. I think as he's leaving, oh no, this is Jerry. I forget if it's Ben or Jerry who says this, but he's like, Thor, I've been meaning to ask you, are you familiar with the word Luhamsta? Which I looked this up on just Google Translate, and it Google translated as dumbass.
Oh my god. In Icelandic?
Yes.
Oh my god.
So funny. So Catherine takes Ben off to berate him. Audrey notices and goes into her secret passageway to like see them perfectly framed through the peephole. Catherine is so mad that he has the poker chip, and this is where you're right. She slaps him 3 times. He's like, she's like, I thought you liked your women, mature with experience. I mean, one, this is gross. The implication that like she knows about One-Eyed Jacks is funneling young girls into this this brothel situation.
Yeah.
And that her main thing is like, wow, I can't believe you're not a MILF hunter for me.
Yeah, that's the real issue here.
Yeah, so which is both funny and also kind of gross.
Yeah. Well, she's a dirtbag. We know this, I think.
Yes, we do. So they smack, but then of course they both nothing turns either of them on like this, so they start kissing. And so she's like, oh, let's burn the mill now. And he's like, no, we'll wait. We'll give Josie one more chance to sell. As if, like, I guess she convinced her to sell it to the Icelanders, because I guess that's their project. But as backup, they can burn it if she doesn't.
Right.
Very strange.
Yeah.
And Audrey thinks this is so funny. She seems like delighted, laughing, watching this. Again, it feels very much like what we talked about last time of she is like Dale. She is excited to see these distressing things. And for Dale, it's because it's clues. And for her, it's because partially clues and partially like the salaciousness is exciting to her. Is like she is like the audience of the soap opera being like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And she's like, haha, I can't believe it,
Totally.
Did you have more on this one? I know we're kind of zooming through because we don't want to go too long, but did you have more on these events? I didn't really have like notes, but did you have more on any of this?
Just taking a look. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, moving on in the gala, Jerry is giving a speech. I love actually like when we first come back, we see Pete Martell is talking with one of them, and it's like, now let me get this straight. Your whole country is above the timberline. Is just so funny of just like, yes, this is the thing about Iceland.
But this guy from the tree town just can't conceive a place
where
you don't have trees. It's just nuts to him.
I took a screenshot. You may have seen the notes of just this one like Icelandic lady here has a very cunty haircut.
Yeah.
So good for her.
Huge fan.
But yeah, so Jerry is giving a speech. He's kind of, we said, I forget, does he say it in Icelandic? He's like, we are all Icelanders.
He does. And they all.
But does he say it in Icelandic?
Yeah, he says it in Icelandic and then English.
It's so funny. It's like doing a fucking like Ich bin ein Berliner for Iceland. And okay, I actually want to talk about Ghostwood Estates.
Sure.
Because we know that this is what they've been trying to do, and we see this like marquee whatever behind him of like the what it could look like, and it looks like it's just a suburb. Like it's just a bunch of houses that I guess they want to build for, I guess, the Icelanders to move into or some shit. I don't fucking know. But I don't know. I think, you know, this has been positioned as like the evil scheme. And I don't know. I think there's a lot there about like Twin Peaks is celebrated for being a small town. It is charming. It's out in nature. And that like the evil thing is bringing development, but also like the suburbs and like, you know, the place where like the family lives, you know, like as a unit. And like that the thing that these people are doing that is all very like, you know, stop this, is to build more of kind of what Twin Peaks is. Like, I don't know, like Twin Peaks is just a small town. I feel like building another little suburb extension to it
doesn't feel remarkable, right? It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, like it is development and it is kind of like moving away from this ideal of this small town. But I think I don't know. I think it is interesting that like this thing that is like this, you know, there was like the Stop Ghostwood poster, and like, you know, all the people that are doing this are on their evil schemes, is to just like make more of what Twin Peaks is, and specifically make more of like, I don't know, the suburbs. I think, you know, like the idea that like this like residential suburban, although it was even really suburban if it's in this small town, but you know what I mean? Like this kind of like family like housing as being like the sort, or like tied to like the evil of Twin Peaks or whatever, is very intriguing to me.
Yeah. I have to be honest, like I'm trying to think about what that could mean, and I'm thinking, okay, is it anti-development, is it pro-development, is it saying that small towns are good or bad, is this like an analog to a suburb or not? I tend to think the show probably doesn't think as deeply about housing as we do.
Sure.
And I wonder if it's just bad because it's being done corruptly, you know?
Sure. Or I mean, like, I think that it would make Twin Peaks less of the small town of Twin Peaks that it is. You know what I mean? I think is a big part of it also.
Yeah, I guess
like it's moving away from this like kind of 50s idealized small town image, you know?
I think the reason I'm not feeling that so strongly is because it feels like a really abstract possibility at this point. It's like ground is not being broken. We've not really been like, we haven't gotten anyone's feelings on what this development would mean. You know, it feels like surprisingly background considering it's what all this crime is sort of being organized to enable.
Yes, I agree.
Interesting.
But so Jerry's going to give a speech about this, but he's interrupted because the fucking music comes on. Like you said, Leland just kind of carries this upbeat jazz music with him, and it also makes him start having a breakdown. Jerry, having come back in, is like, Catherine, please dance with him. And they try to spin his breakdown, which we saw him having earlier about like hearing this song and being like, oh God, Laura can't dance with me, as like, this is one of the scenes that I always remember from like early Twin Peaks, is like, yes, it's the classic American head sobbing dance. As all the ice, like they successfully spin this, so the Icelanders are like, yes, you touch your head and you wave your hands, while he's like visibly sobbing. Is so much.
Oh fuck, dude. And what they try to like get Catherine over to like make it look like they're dancing in a pair. And it just works. Is so silly. It's hilarious because it doesn't work, you know.
Well, and it's also like, how the fuck did this jazz music start playing? It does feel like Leland just carries it into the room with him by like the sheer force of his grief, you know?
Yeah, I really think so. I think he's obviously not able to be present in what is happening here. He's still in the death, sort of.
Yeah.
So here, I think the last shot we see is Audrey sort of behind a pillar sobbing.
Yeah. I
And
really found this really interesting.
yeah, this really hit for me. So we're used to Audrey being like in character, right? It hardly even matters what the character is. She's just comfortable putting something on, like a bit of personal armor. And here she is finally showing emotion over Laura's death, something I doubted she even cared to do. You know, every time she said she was so sad that her good friend Laura died, it was like, really? I kind of don't believe you. But now we see her in private, which is a fairly rare occasion. We see her hiding and not, putting anything on. And now there's like this really deep, genuine pain. The mask is off.
Yeah. It's funny. There's like a lot of Audrey about being observed, right?
Yeah.
Like as she hashtag the gays, whatever. But there is also a lot of Audrey about hiding in the secret passageway or like behind a corner and watching others. I think
that's true.
Watching and being watched. And I don't know, I was really thinking like it really is interesting to me like what makes her laugh versus cry. You know? Like she sees these schemes and her dad fucking MILF hunting and also that her dad is like predating on these young women at One-Eyed Jack's and she's like, haha. And seeing like Leland break down, like makes her cry. And yeah, I didn't even know, like, I think that's I think the rate that's because like she's reminded of Laura's death is very real. I didn't even know if it was like for Leland, or like seeing the dark, salacious truth, like behind, like seeing the facade break down amuses her, but seeing the facade maintained by this dance is sad to her,
Wow, I find that read so interesting. I really like that.
Yeah. Really, I don't know. I'm really on Audrey watch, I think. So I think the last time that I watched Twin Peaks, it was washing over me a lot in a good way, right?
Yeah.
And I did not end it with knowing really how I felt about Audrey. So I'm really on Audrey watch of like, how do I feel about this character?
She's so fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Whether or not they did the human being she is representing justice, I don't know.
Yeah.
But what a brain.
Yeah. So moving along, we have a short scene of Madeline that we talked about earlier. She calls Donna and says that she found a tape in Laura's secret hiding place, I believe in her bedpost where she used to hide cigarettes as a kid. I noticed that like she's in pajamas and it really highlights the camera, like really highlights her like animal slippers. Very childlike, or like it's really emphasizing her innocence,
Yeah.
And also that next to the phone, there is that picture of Laura with Audrey that we talked about last episode, which is also here.
That's
very
Audrey? Oh yeah.
Is it? I think it is.
I thought it was Donna, but now I can't.
Maybe it is.
Hold on, it's Donna, to be honest. I'm not sure.
Maybe it is Donna. I'm really bad at this. Anyway, I think big things for me, we are really getting more of her. Oh, she is innocent, and childlike, and also that she is partaking in the mystery.
Yes, indeed. And so towards the end of the phone call, right, we have Sarah Palmer calling out Leland, where are you? So I guess like he just like didn't tell her that she was. I guess
he just fucking wandered off to it's a lot.
Man, I want more time with Sarah, and I want more time with those two as a couple. I want to understand what this is doing to them.
Yeah. Who could say if we will get that? But our next little scene is remember how Josie was epic earlier? She's still there. She's in Ben's office smoking and looking really epic. Ben comes in and Josie's like, no one saw me come in. And I found the second book right where you said it would be. This being the like accounting books that we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
And Ben is like, perfect, we can proceed tomorrow night. So I guess Josie is on some double, triple scheming shit.
What the fuck is
actually, this? I don't know. I have no memory of, so I guess, oh yeah, I am full, this stuff is like all of the like soap opera minutiae stuff. I'm like, so I am here with you, Lily, you know? So I guess she actually wants it to be burned down so that she can frame Catherine or some shit. I have no fucking clue, but it is hashtag scheming time. And you know what?
Is.
Good for her.
Good for her. Yeah, I am like well and truly rooting for her. I have no clue what Ben's game is here. Because he's not a decent person, right? Like I'm sure this this is scheme stands to benefit him in one way, but like why would he go against his own scheme, you know?
I don't know. Maybe he thinks he can get, I don't know. It's definitely very like we are making this type of soap opera narrative where everyone is scheming on everyone. I think that is the desired effect more than there being any one cohesive, you know? But yeah, so from there we have two big scenes at the end here. So, first off, we see Shelley. She's lighting a cigarette on the stove. Leo rolls up and is surprised by Hank the Puncher, who gives him a big punch and says, I told you to mind the shop, not open your own franchise. So we find out that Hank, it was, I guess, superior to Leo before he got locked up, and is in on the drug stuff. And is like, I'll kill you if you, fucking, try to compete with me in drugs. And then walks off. Leo goes in. He's all dirty. He's all bloody. And I think it's really interesting. At first, Shelley is like, oh my God, are you okay? And then he like pushes her off to the ground. He's like, get me a beer. And then it's when he pushes her, she pulls the gun.
Yeah.
And, he gives her the like, what? Come on, you really think you're going to shoot me? And she does. So it would seem.
She fucking does.
She shoots, and we just get the ceiling lamp like swinging back and forth, and then the crossfade into the waterfall at the end of the scene.
So fucking good that is.
Yeah, I know. Like I've seen people talk about like the waterfall was like used when they wanted to like talk about passion, and certainly the waterfall being in between shooting and Audrey. Scene up next feels very like, guys, it's time for passion, but. Yeah, I mean, listen, tell me, so it's literally, tell me what you think about this.
I am fucking psyched. I love the amount of weight they gave to Shelley shooting Leo. It's like it was too momentous to even show, it was like we were given it like sort of the experience sort of figuratively with like the really slowed down like sound and the swinging of the light, which I don't understand. Like the light didn't have a gunshot through it, so I don't know why it was moving, but yeah, that was nuts. I am thinking a little bit about like the double violence, the 1-2 punch that Leo receives here. First, he's attacked over the drugs, and second, he's attacked by his wife. And I like that's an interesting kind of trajectory, I guess, for a scene to take. Why, like, attacked by people who don't know each other back to back for unrelated reasons. I don't have anything to say about that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It does make me think, like, is Hank Jennings like, come, okay, I'm going to go threaten Leo. And then here's a gunshot from inside. It's like, oh, I got to go, guys.
I guess it's fine.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I love that Shelley gets her, like, you're not going to hurt me again. And again, like, this is it's a fucking soap opera scene,
yes,
but fuck
totally.
it. We love it.
Fuck it.
You're not going to hurt her again. Get shot. Get fucked.
Get fucked, little big man. One last thing about the scene is, oh my God, the silver gun is such an excellent piece of production design. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's so distinctive.
And we were like, it's funny, when it showed up, we were like, oh, it's her lady's gun. But seeing her shoot, I'm like, yeah, shoot the fucking lady's gun.
Woo! Gun. And then it creates a waterfall, which is a metaphor for squirting.
That's so true. But yeah, the waterfall intercut is kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
so then we get our last scene.
Last scene.
Like Cooper go into his hotel room. The Icelanders are fucking singing, but then he notices the doors are ajar and goes into fucking FBI mode, whips out his gun, and finds Audrey in his bed. I'm like, girl, why did you have to undress and everything?
Oh my
Like,
God, right?
you could have just gone there. And she says, please don't make me leave. And that is the end of the episode.
Yeah, my goodness.
So, man, we're running short on time, so we probably won't spend too much time on this, but we will be on Audrey Watch. But like, we've talked about a lot of this already. Apparently, this is interesting. The director of this episode, it was written by Mark Frost. It was directed by Leslie Linka Glatter, who I looked at her. Apparently, she's directed a bunch of Mad Men stuff, which is fun.
Yeah.
She's like done a lot of things.
Yeah.
But she said, despite that they emphasized the rapport between Cooper and Audrey Horne, there was never any intention to bring the characters together as a couple, which is interesting to hear the director say, like, But regardless, I don't know. This is, we could and probably will continue to talk a lot about this because her showing up here, it does feel like a fantasy thing of like, what if sexy Audrey Horne showed up, and like, it's a lot, like, it's, like, I think a lot of, especially a fucking, like, 11% of the population was watching this. I think a lot of men were watching this and just being like, it would be so cool if Audrey Horne threw herself at me.
Oh God.
I also, like, when I think about her as a character motivation, I don't really understand. Like, we know that she's investigating and we know that she's like interested in Dale, and that I guess she was sad because of, like, the last time we saw her, she was crying watching everyone do the American head sobbing dance. I can't, when I think about Audrey Horne as like a character with motivations, I don't know what makes her then undress and get into Dale Cooper's bed. You know what I mean?
Me neither. I don't. I understand why she would want to do that in a vacuum. I don't understand why that's a response to what just happened. Like, I don't know why she would do that in a moment of suffering. And I also kind of don't understand why she's crying still, other than maybe for Laura, but like, oh, well, there is something to be said. I mean, if she knew about Laura's supposed dark side, about her then doing the thing that Laura may well have been doing.
Yeah, it's a lot. This is like, there's a lot. And like, this is where I'm like, it's so strange and fraught thinking about, like, Audrey as a character, because it feels like as a character, she is either out of her wanting to or her having to accomplish her goals, is putting her, like, she wants to put herself in positions that Laura were in. And that is like so fraught. And like, even like, I want this older man, like Laura saying, oh, mature men need apply, like that's so intense.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Like, that is what fucking killed Laura Palmer. And it is so, I really, like, from day to day, will go back and forth on whether I think the show knows that and is being really, really nuanced and layered and smart about that, or whether, like, that's what she's doing and the show is being cavalier about being like, and I don't know, like, and it's so weird again, because I think that, like, Audrey Horne really was, I think, in the popular consciousness, like, thinking about Twin Peaks was like a big part of it was like, Audrey Horne is sexy.
Right.
And that really fucking gives it such a weird twist, Totally. Like, my girlfriend Maya has told me, like, many, like, a no small number of people in, have been like, you look like Audrey Horne, and intend this as a, like, you look sexy compliment,
Right. I think when we were watching the pilot, I said, oh, that kind of looks like Maya.
Yeah, it does. And like, you know what
obviously.
I mean? Yeah, no, like, we're normal, and like, it's, I don't know. Yeah, it's really, it's so weird. Like, why is she?
Mhm.
I don't know. It really. I was thinking about like what we were saying last time of like it's like she wants to become a protagonist, and she's like, I will be an investigator. I will get my I will. She wants to run off with Dale Cooper in the way that she
Mhm.
wants to like have the kind of like narrative power that he does in this world, you
Yeah.
know, and throwing herself at him like this in a way like you can read it as like this is her trying to like the only way that she thinks that she sees of doing that is to put herself in this role of the seducer / victim /
Yep.
you know, but it's a lot. I don't know. Do you have like more concrete thoughts on this? I'm sure we will follow up on this next episode,
I
but
am certain we
it is a
will. And
very baffling ending.
very baffling ending. I actually kind of amazing that the show didn't end on the shooting of Leo, because that's
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean,
huh?
what a
Right?
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll see if this scene sort of merits even being here.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm good to move on to our closing segments. What do you think?
Alrighty. Yeah. Do you have any crazy dreams?
I didn't have any crazy dreams.
All right. Who killed Laura Palmer?
Who killed Laura Palmer? So last time, my top 3 were: in third place, the Renault brothers; in second, we, the viewers of the show;
Mm-hmm.
and in first, Ben Horn / One-Eyed Jacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put in third. No, I'm gonna start in first place.
Mm-hmm.
Renault brothers are way up in the rankings this week. The fact that Jacques Renault's cabin is probably where Laura was, if not murdered, then at least like brutalized.
Yeah.
Because last time I was kind of running on intuition. I was thinking about how
Mm-hmm.
Bernard's body was wrapped up like Laura's was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this seems like incredibly damning, actually, and I would be surprised if it's not them at this juncture. I'm gonna move Ben Horn down a slot, although I think he was partly culpable. I don't think he was the actual killer. And in third place, what is that line that Bobby says about the nightmarish, the darkness that was trying to drag Laura down? Do you remember how that went?
Let me find it here. Yeah, she said people tried to be good, but they were really sick and rotten. Her most of all. The harder she tried to be good, the more rotten she felt. It didn't mean anything. Every time she tried to help the world be a better place, something terrible came up inside her and pulled her back down to hell. It took her deeper and deeper into the blackest nightmare, and every time it got harder to go back up to the light.
Thank you. And with that said, my third place candidate is Mr. Melancholy from I Saw the TV Glow.
Oh my God, fuck off. I feel like it took like 2 episodes before this became a little like it was just fucking yeah, Mr. Melancholic from I Saw the TV Glow. So true.
There's some very similar force, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm actually very confident at this point in my top 2. I think it's like, let's do 2 real ones and a silly one every episode. That's what this is.
Lily, what happens next time on Twin Peaks? So last time, Donna and James keep Audrey at arm's length, go off on a wild goose chase and find Bernard's body and are totally wrong about what it means. B-plot standoff between Hank and Ben Horn at the diner, the domino and the poker chip. I think they are kind of going on a goose chase. This is like I think this gets like 3.5 out of 10.
Wow, that's generous. I feel like I was entirely wrong, to be honest with you.
I don't know. Hank got in a standoff, you know?
Yeah, Hank got in a standoff at the diner. That's true. Okay, so next time, first of all, Oh, here's a prediction.
Wait. Is this what you wrote? I was going to ask, why the fuck did you write, we learned the origin of the hot dog plate? It is a balloon dog. Is this your prediction?
There. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is a small part of it.
Okay, so A plot.
Okay. A plot. Leo survives the shooting. But is blackmailed into not Yeah, but is blackmailed into not, I guess, telling the cops that it was his wife.
Uh-huh.
That's the A plot. The B plot is
So do they just keep being husband and wife? Like is Shelley and head of the boss now? Like what, you know?
This is where a turn happens in the relationship, you know, a shooting having happened. So
I'm just writing Shelley is the boss now.
yeah, she is officially in Bobby's camp, sort of explicitly conspiring against him because there's no turning back, you know?
Yeah.
B plot, in the process of shooting, the hot dog plate on the wall at Shelley's house is damaged.
No.
It falls and it shatters, and so while the cops are over investigating, Lucy decides to take on replacing it for Shelley.
Uh-huh.
and she
goes
finds
on,
the manufacturer and learns that the little thing in the bottom left that looks like a balloon dog is in fact a balloon dog.
Like a literal balloon dog or an image of it?
Like, I mean, it is still a plate.
Okay, no, we're not saying that the balloon has been somehow transmuted into the plate.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
Can we lock that one in,
Yeah,
actually?
fuck
This is how the supernatural stuff plays in. So okay, honestly, I think of all the ones you've said, I think this one is the most this would be a Twin Peaks plotline. So
yeah.
The hot dog plate is damaged and shatters. Lucy takes on replacing the hot dog plate, finds the manufacturer, learns that the little balloon dog is a balloon dog supernaturally transmuted into the plate.
Yeah.
I love it.
We're locking it in. Holy shit.
I think that it absolutely would be a Twin Peaks plotline, like without a doubt.
Let's go, dude. What an episode.
What an episode. Alrighty, well, thank you everybody for listening. Have a lovely time. I love Twin Peaks.
Love Twin Peaks.
Bye.
Woohoo. Oh, cool. TSTV is hosted by Sadie Avery Lake and yours truly, Lily Alexander. Our music is by Jamie Page. The art is by Maya Fernandez-Giles. If you want to get in touch with us, please email us at hellotstv@gmail.com. We may include your mail on a future episode of the show. Let us know if that's okay. If you want to support the show and gain access to our monthly bonus episodes, head over to tstv.show. See you next time.
And now for some content warnings for the next episode. These, as always, may have some mild spoilers, so just turn off your podcast if you don't want to hear them. Okay, here they come. Episode 6, Realization Time. There's, like, on-screen shooting of a bird. If you are sensitive to that, be advised. The show starts to really lean into being a bit weird with Audrey. Some of Audrey, I think, flirting with Cooper in a way that is... We talk about it in the episode, but feels like the show is like, wow, it would be so hot if Cooper slept with this 18-year-old in a way that we don't love. Be advised. again, the show just keeps being about sex work, and again, the show is starting to show its hand a bit in terms of how it can get racist, especially more down the line, but it's happening here.